Hi guys, welcome to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. This is an interactive news conversation. So what's going to happen here, we'll talk and chat about some of the biggest stories of the day. You guys can weigh in though in real time. So we're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, maybe even YouTube. You can join in the comment section. Let me know what kinds of stories you like to hear. Maybe there's something that I'm not going over and it's trending. Tell me about it and we'll be able to do it right here live in this newsroom. So I'm streaming here from Fox 5 Atlanta, all the way in Atlanta, Georgia. I know some of you guys sometimes join in from other states, sometimes out of the country, and happy to have all of you. One of the biggest stories that we're talking about right now, though, apparently people in Buckhead, in College Park, may be able to rest a little easier. I want to get right out to our reporter, Kim Luffler. Today, we know there's supposed to be a court appearance or some type of hearing. Kim, let me know what this story is all about.
Yeah, well, we do expect a first appearance to happen here a little later on this morning. We learned that is scheduled for 11:30 this morning, but this is for the suspect Kwame Shabazz, who was arrested in Gwinnett County on Thursday evening. Now, Atlanta police asked for the public's help to find Shabazz in a press conference on Thursday afternoon. Police say Shabazz forced his way into a Buckhead apartment complex on Cosmopolitan Drive on January 22nd. Investigators say Shabazz spotted the female victim taking her trash out and ambushed her, forcing her back into her apartment where he raped her. Police say the next day Shabazz exposed himself to another woman on Piedmont Road near that same complex. Now, police believe he is homeless. Detectives say the victims did play a key role in helping them identify Shabazz. Now, take a listen to a little bit of what they had to say during that press conference on Thursday.
Victim called 911 immediately after it happened. She's been very cooperative, very brave. She was able to put out a sketch for us, the GBI as well. She was able to identify him in a lineup that conducted. So, very brave person. She came forward right away in the sexual assault, and then we commend her for what she's done, and she's actually been cooperative in the investigation as well.
And police say Shabazz is facing multiple charges, including rape, sexual battery, and false imprisonment and burglary. In Fulton County alone, he's had multiple arrests dating back to 2015 when he was charged and convicted of attempted murder. And he has been in and out of the jail here multiple times. And Judea, as you mentioned, police believe he's behind another rape in College Park. Again, that first appearance here scheduled to happen a little later on this morning at 11:30.
Kim, first of all, I mean, let's really unpack this here. Absolutely terrifying for anybody who's maybe listening in to this. You said there that he had previous instances, run-ins with the law before, and I'm sure the question is, well, how does a person like that end up back on the street in order to commit potentially more crimes? Have police said anything about that?
Absolutely. We have not gotten, heard from police about that at this point. We have seen several different times that he was booked into the Fulton County Jail here. I was just checking my notes. He was last released, it looks like, August of last year from his last booking here. And, of course, he is back here again as well. We also don't know right now how he got to Gwinnett County either. Again, with this alleged rape happening in Buckhead at the end of January. We don't know how long he was in Gwinnett County, so certainly still a lot of questions here regarding this case.
Shout out to, I mean, if this did truly take place the way that everybody's saying it did, shout out to the victim who was brave enough, courageous enough to speak to police so that this wouldn't happen to somebody else. But Kim, I wanted to go back over a couple of the details. You said that there was that first appearance happening soon. What time are we expecting that to happen? And then what does a first appearance consist of?
Absolutely. So that first appearance is scheduled. Last we heard at 11:30. I'm going to head back in here to the jail in a little bit. Sometimes some of the defendants will waive their right to appear first appearance, so we will keep you updated on that. But a lot of times, a judge will set bail in some of these first appearance cases. We'll find out if he will have the option to post any bail. Sometimes they don't allow the suspects to have that option depending on what their crime time is, of course. So that typically is what happens in the first appearance. But again, we'll keep you updated as we learn more and to find out that it is indeed going to happen at 11:30.
Okay. Thank you so much for walking us through this. Again, kind of terrifying when you hear something like that happening. If you live nearby, so close to home. Kim, thanks for the details. We'll be checking back in with her a little later, you guys. She'll probably have some more updates as the day continues. We also know that we're going to try to stay on that for Fox 5 Atlanta. You know, our team coverage will continue, so stay with us here on Fox 5 News Live. All right, let's get a live look outside. I want to take you guys outside here in the city of Atlanta. It is an absolutely gorgeous day. I mean, the blue skies, sun is shining, absolutely gorgeous. Bringing in our meteorologist, Greg Majeski, for the morning. Greg, it does look beautiful. We actually had a pretty warm yesterday. Is that going to continue?
It was a bit of a surprise yesterday. I'll be honest with you, the models really blew that one pretty badly. We're not supposed to get 65 like they did yesterday. It was pretty warm, but it was a teaser. So today we're back to reality. It's cold, it's windy, it's kind of chilly outside, but the good news is this is temporary.
Okay.
All right, so tomorrow's going to be better. As far as the 2 days for the weekend, at least there's no ice.
Yes.
There's no snow.
Yes.
None of that, and we truly have what I would call, definitely. We truly have a honest to God February thaw coming this week. So once we get past the very cold start tomorrow morning, after that, no freezing temperatures expected the rest of the week. So
we can do it. We can do it, guys.
We can get there. All right, so let's go take a look right here on Viper. We're pretty clear out there for right now. Not expecting any rainfall. Really not until probably later in the week. It looks like most of the week's going to stay
that's good news.
a bit on the dry side out there. Now temperatures out there right now are chilly. They're here in the 30s. So they're not going to warm up all that much. We got a pretty good northwesterly wind that was pretty gusty overnight. I had a couple of my followers actually showed me a couple of trees that had come down on the yards from some of the gusty winds up there in the mountains. Yeah, the mountain areas had some wind gusts up 40 to 50 miles per hour. So they had some very gusty winds about 1,500 feet last night. So things are settling down. Not quite that gusty out there right now. So that's the good news there. But the winds are still going to be hanging around here. So you're still getting wind gusts at Atlanta, Hartsville, Jackson at 28 miles per hour. So it's still pretty windy. 30 down in Noonan. So it is a breezy day. It is a toucan day, as I like to call it. It's like toucans. So that's my look. Yes,
I've never heard that before.
I should go ahead and trademark that. But,
you should.
The wind gusts are going to settle down here for tonight. So that's the good news there. The wind's going to settle down. But what that's going to mean is by tomorrow morning we're going to have some pretty good radiational cooling going on here. So a lot of areas going to be down in the 20s for tomorrow. A little bit of wind, but not much out there for tomorrow morning. So that's the good news there. So let's go look at our forecast here. The big cold news is up in the Northeast. I don't know if you noticed, this is some of the coldest air they've seen all season up in the Northeast. I mean, very hard to freeze. You know, a lot of the Great Lakes are like sitting at, I think Erie's like at 98% coverage of ice. It's like the most they've had there in years. I mean, it's been very, very cold up that part of the country. Our part of the world staying pretty good though. We're looking pretty quiet here. Again, looking at maybe a few clouds there on Monday, but really not looking too bad here. And looks like Tuesday, we got that weak system back off toward the west. We're going to have a very fast flow across the country, west to east, which what that means for us is weak systems for the most part, hit and runs, and rain chances, although they're going to come up a little bit, not that impressive. So today's highs, again, below normal. We're going to have it in the 40s here, 50s to the south here. Again, you have the breezy conditions all day, so definitely a jacket type of day. Overnight lows tonight, they're going to be cold. We're going to have some 20s out there and some 30s, so you definitely want to bundle up here for tomorrow. And then as we look at our highs for tomorrow, the nice little rebound back into the 50s. Your normal highs, 57 degrees, so we're supposed to be for this time of year, so things getting back to more normal levels there. And then as we look at the rest of the 7-day forecast, I mean, we're going right back up. We do have some chances of rain in there on Wednesday, maybe a slight chance on Thursday, but I think Friday right now still tracking as the best day for rain. But notice once we get past tomorrow morning, when we're down in the 20s, below freezing, we don't have a below freezing morning for the rest of the week. So for you folks that want to,
it's been a long time coming.
60s, so we haven't seen that since about mid-January. We had that little warm spell after New Year's, 10 days, but we haven't had an extended warm period for a while. So, and right now the Cloud Prediction Center is telling us that we should see basically above normal temperatures here. There's a couple of minor cool downs, quick hit and runs, but overall, the totality, we're looking at above normal temperatures here. So the groundhog can go away.
Wait, are you a groundhog hater too?
Oh yes, of course I am.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Most weather guys don't really care for the groundhog.
And I get it because they kind of steal your thunder.
Well, I mean,
but we
got,
still need you
well,
guys.
You got Beauregard Lee. You
Yeah.
know, he's actually got an 80% track record, but he's agreeing with his cousin up in Punxsutawney, calling for 6 more weeks of winter. So I don't know. So
well,
it don't look like it in my eyeball, at least not right
well,
now.
that week,
No,
that
it looks
7
great.
day, it
I'm
looks
loving it.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at that over the past couple of weekends that we have had,
I worked so many hours. I didn't know what day of the week it was. I mean,
my eyes were starting to cross.
I mean, it was ice 2 weeks ago. I was doing that, and then I was on, did 8 hours of coverage during a snowstorm on my platform. So, yeah, it was pretty busy.
Yeah, we have been fighting for our lives over here in the state of Georgia, but that's, I guess, how the cookie crumbles in winter.
I'm going to toot my own horn here. At the beginning, back in October, I put my winter outlook out there, and what I said was it was going to be a winter of extremes, temperature-wise. I said we were going to have one ice storm, one snowstorm. I've checked all 3 boxes. So there you go.
Okay, with the predictions. All right, good stuff. I'm happy that you were able to bring us our forecast. We'll be checking in with you at the bottom of the hour, you guys. So if you want to know if you should still keep making plans, we know Super Bowl Sunday is tomorrow. We'll check back in with Greg to see how things are going to go. Let's take another live look outside in the city of Atlanta. Again, gorgeous day ahead. I hope you have some plans to get out. It was kind of chilly this morning, but we're seeing that the temperatures will continue to rise, and it looks good for us for the rest of the day. Now, in the fact that we do have such a sunny day, it's important that we get out right now to our reporter, Ray Yarena. He is covering, remember you guys, that we heard that officer in Gwinnett County was shot in the line of duty and also killed. Well, today he will be laid to rest. Ray, can you walk us through the kind of atmosphere that you're seeing out there? Are you already at the church?
Yeah, we are in the parking lot, Judea, of 12 Stone Church. That's off of Buford Drive near the city of Lawrenceville. And I can tell you it is a very somber tone right now following the passing of Officer Pradeep Tamang. He was just graduated from the Gwinnett County Police Academy this past May. Just a very young police officer who was unfortunately shot and killed in the line of duty just last weekend. Today is a celebration of life, and that's expected to start at about 10 o'clock this morning. We are told from police that his procession will arrive at the church in the next 45 minutes or so, but I just want to give you a look around with photojournalist Eric Len, excuse me. Normally, I wouldn't say normally, but when you have a funeral and a celebration of life for a police officer, there is customs that fellow agencies perform and adhere to. So you will see representation from all over the metro. Just in front of us, you have a Cobb County police car. You, of course, have Gwinnett County police cars. You have Gainesville police cars, Decatur police cars. I saw another one from Dorville. They sent over a commemorative police car as well, just to show support for their agencies. And this is customary among police agencies across the U.S. and the Southeast especially, just sending support, sending officers to represent their agencies to support their fellow officers. Now, I do want to say here's a little bit more about Officer Tamang. I'm going to show some video that it's not only been this celebration of life that's been going on all week, but it's also there's been visuals and memorials all throughout the week. Now, Officer Tamang, he was born in April 8th, 2000 in Nepal, and he resettled in the United States in 2008. This is all according to a biography that has been posted by the Gwinnett County Police Department. He started his career as a private investigator, and then he transitioned into a correctional officer position at the Dauphin County Prison. That's in Pennsylvania. And as I said earlier, he graduated from the Gwinnett County Police Academy in May 2025, and the department says that he absolutely loved being a police officer and took great pride in his work, and he was always excited to share his experiences and stories. But outside of work, they said that Officer Tamang enjoyed playing video games, reading, and watching videos on social media, and he had a deep love for animals and wanted one day to open an animal sanctuary. And the department closed out this biography by saying, though his life was far too short short, Pradeep lived with purpose, ambition, and heart. His dedication, kindness, and dreams will always be remembered. Now, I just want to show you all some sound from an interview with a family friend that we talked to earlier this week. This is what they had to say.
I think that's how we have to live our life. Always looking to serve, looking to help other people. I think that's his legacy, and we need to follow through.
And again, this celebration of life at 12 Stone Church off of Buford Drive is expected to start at 10. We're expecting the procession to come through to our right in the next 45, half an hour or so. And the city of Lawrenceville has also posted on their Facebook earlier today that they are expecting traffic to be heavy in and around the Lawrenceville area due to the procession and due to the celebration of life of Officer Pradeep Tamang, who unfortunately was killed last Sunday. Jamea?
Ray, it's a very great way of kind of walking us back through who this man was, because he wasn't just a law enforcement officer. He was a fiance. He was a friend. This kind of humanizes his story. And I also heard you say there too, just how many officers from other entities and agencies that you're seeing. When that procession comes through, you guys, we're going to see the community come out. They are encouraging anyone who wants to pay their respects, help the family process this grief, to line the streets and kind of give him his final send-off. It's a beautiful thing that happens every time there is some sort of officer-involved shooting, a death, or maybe even when we see a public figure being laid to rest. Now, Ray, I still have some questions and some other things that I want to go over with you, because I do see in the chat some people are asking what happened. So if you don't mind, let's go back over the details of what happened when that officer-involved shooting broke out in Stone Mountain. Do you want to start, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So Officer Tamang was responding to a Holiday Inn during the snowstorm. This was just after that we had that fresh snow last week, and he was responding to a Holiday Inn Express near the Stone Mountain area in response to I believe it was a stolen credit card fraud situation out there at that Holiday Inn. Officer Tamang was accompanied by another officer, Officer David Reed, and they were going to speak to 35-year-old Kevin Stewart, I believe his last name is. They were going to speak to this suspect, 35-year-old, and that suspect invited him into his room. And when that suspect invited him into this room, he shot both of the officers. Officer Reed is currently in the hospital as we speak right now, but Officer Tamang was pronounced deceased at Gwinnett Gwinnett Hospital, not too far away from that hospital, just hours later. So Officer Reed is still recovering. The suspect in this case was also injured, but he suffered non-life-threatening injuries.
And also, I want to go back over some more of the stuff that we know about Officer Reed. You did say that he is in the hospital. He's still recovering. You guys, he has undergone surgery at this point in time. Doctors say that he's making excellent progress, which is the silver lining, I guess you could say, in all of this. We know that the officers, their colleagues, have been taking in donations for all of the families involved, the victims' families, I should say, and part of those funds are going to help, lay Officer Tamang to rest, but some of those proceeds will also be able to help Officer Reed's family try to push through this. I mean, you have a lot of medical bills to worry about as well. Ray, I understand you're going to be out there pretty much all morning long. When this starts at 10, we will be able to check back in with you afterward to see how things are going. We're also going to have our helicopter over the scene too, so you can just see how many people have come to pay their respects. Ray, I appreciate your time with us, again, walking us through the details, being able to answer that question for our viewer on TikTok, who, by the way, says thank you. We will continue this coverage in just a little bit, but you guys, there is some other news of the day to get to. Ray, I'll talk to you a little later. still ahead. You've probably seen the headlines. You've probably seen this on social media. We were looking for 2 missing people at one point in time. You know, Savannah Guthrie's mom went missing. She's the Today Show host. Everybody loves the Today Show. You probably know her and love her as well. Well, her mother, Nancy Guthrie, went missing, and we did learn some new details in that case. We'll be going over those details in just a little bit. The other missing person to talk about, you probably heard, Lil Jon's son was reported missing in the city of Milton. When we go over that story, I'll be telling you about the tragic update that we have just gotten in yesterday. You guys, we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. How many of you guys were scrolling on your phones when you saw this crazy headline that rapper Lil Jon's son, DJ Young Slade, was missing? That was a couple of days ago. There was a big search out for him in the city of Milton, and unfortunately that story does not have a positive ending. So you're taking a look there where out near a body of water, law enforcement, a search team, rescue were trying to find possible clues that would lead them to where DJ Young Slade was. His real name is Nathan Murray Smith, and we believe that he was 27 years old. Unfortunately, after that search, they found his body. So let's go back over some of the bigger details of how we even got to this point. So he had been reported missing earlier this week by the Milton Police Department. They were trying to figure out where he had gone. They were concerned about maybe some medical issues that he may have been experiencing. They did tell the people in the city, though, that they had nothing to worry about in terms of a potential threat to them, that this wasn't anything of that sort. Well, then, like I said, this is a high-profile case, and so the search continued, and unfortunately, they found his body in a Milton pond. He is the son of Atlanta rapper Lil Jon. He himself was a performer. He went by the name DJ Young Slade. He was very famous locally here. A lot of people paying their respects and, saying all the things that they hope for he and his family as they continue this grieving process. or I should say start this grieving process. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office is the one who confirmed that was in fact the body of Nathan Murray Smith. Now, on an official Instagram page, rapper Lil Jon put out his joint statement with his son's mother. Her name is Nicole, and it reads, if you don't mind me reading it to you, "I am extremely heartbroken for the tragic loss of our son Nathan Smith. His mother and I are devastated. Nathan was the kindest human being you would ever meet. He was immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted. He loved his family and the friends in his life to the fullest. He was an amazingly talented young man, a music producer, an artist, an engineer, and graduate of NYU. Thank you for all of the prayers and support in trying to locate him over the last several days. Thank you to the entire Milton Police Department involved, Detective Dula Milton, investigators Sergeant Scott Lappin, Detective Randy Dula, Detective Sarah Moore, and Detective Daniel Williams, Sandy Springs Police Department, Fulton County Sheriff's Office, Haralson County Sheriff's Office, Cherokee Fire Department, Forsyth County Fire Department, Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, Georgia K-9 Team Search and Recovery, and multiple volunteers, as well as the Milton Fire Department and Cherokee Rescue and Dive Team, and Craig Braisman. So like I said, very high profile case, a lot of hands on this situation as they were trying to get some better answers, you should say, for the family. Unfortunately, this is what we are seeing here. Now, the family has not said anything about how we got to this point in terms of, they haven't said whether there's a potential suspect. Police do say that they don't believe there was any foul play here, which, I mean, you can use your imagination to determine what that may mean. But something that I say on this stream a lot is when there are heavy things happening in the news, this is part of Mr. Rogers' quote, but when there are heavy things happening in the news, you got to look for the helpers, and you see a whole bunch of helpers right there on the shorelines trying to figure out what happened. Can we get some answers for the family? And did, in fact, get some much needed answers for that family. So now, again, the grieving process does begin, but you heard that statement there from Lil Jon. He also told TMZ that from this news, he is devastated. Now, there's another high-profile family hoping for some better news in a missing persons case. You're taking a look at some video out of Tucson, Arizona, where we know the search is on for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. We're actually on day 7 of the search for this 84-year-old mother. Authorities say that she was taken from her Catalina Foothills home out in Arizona against her will. They do believe they've got some evidence that there was a struggle. They said that they found blood at the scene, and right now they do believe that they are dealing with a kidnapper. They've had some imposter ransom notes, which I can only imagine makes it so much harder for the family to try to keep their hopes up while they're waiting for their mother to hopefully pop up one day or come back untouched, unharmed. They've been asking for any type of proof of life from the potential ransom holders, the potential kidnappers. So far, they haven't gotten anything that would prove that she is still with them and still living. Now, we know the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for any information that may lead to an arrest of any of the suspects and for Guthrie's safe return. But again, today marks day 7 of the search for Nancy Guthrie. Now, the family did get to speak, and I want to let you listen in to, it's really heartfelt, by the way. I want to let you listen in to what they said in their plea for those kidnappers to return their mother.
But first, we have to know that you have our mom.
We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
So they do say Nancy Guthrie right now is without some medication that she needs to be able to continue her everyday life, and so there is a big concern for her health at this current point in time. That's the latest information that we have there on that. Hopefully in the next couple of hours, maybe even the next couple of days, we have better answers, and I'm hoping for a much kinder outcome for the family there. But those are two celebrities who are kind of dealing with the weeds right now as they try to continue on here in this February. So that's the latest there on that. Still ahead, I want to also talk to you guys about this post. Again, you probably saw it. It went viral before it was taken down, where we know President Donald Trump allegedly posted a racist social media post featuring former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama as apes. And the song that was playing over it insinuated that they were in the jungle. Now, that post was deleted on Friday after some backlash across both sides, both aisles. So we heard Democrats and Republicans weighing in, saying that they thought that this was all in distaste. President Donald Trump later said on Friday that he would not be apologizing for the post because he, and I quote, "I didn't make a mistake." The Republican president's Thursday night the post on Thursday night was blamed on a staffer after some widespread backlash. I mean, it came from civil rights leaders, Republican senators, even some Democrats as well. They say that this was a horrible mistreatment of a former president, especially the first black president of the United States and the first black first lady. And it was a kind of a rare admission of a misstep, maybe even guilt, you could say, by deleting that post just hours after Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt dismissed quote-unquote fake outrage over that very same post. Again, calls for its removal came up from both Republicans and Democrats. The White House said a staffer posted the video, and that's why it ended up on social media. Now, is this just an internet meme? Is this a racist, I guess you could say, output from the president? Is it a deeper picture into who's running our country? These are some of the questions that are floating around social media, and I mean, I've even been seeing them on my timeline as well. But just in case you're not sure why it's so bad to have put up a photo of former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as apes, there's a lot of historical context there that may be missing. And so, I mean, we can go into that a little deeper a little later on because I'm taking a look at the time and I don't have as much time as I thought I did. But in just a little bit, don't worry, we will go back over this story and I can tell you a little bit more about that long history of racism that kind of colors in the situation that happened there and may help you understand a little better about why a lot of people are enraged, especially during Black History Month. But still ahead, I want to let you know we're going to be going back to that church where we know a Gwinnett County officer is being laid to rest after someone opened fire on him and his partner, ultimately killing him, severely injuring the partner. We'll have more on that and the amount of people who are pouring in to pay their final respects when we come back. I'm ready to hit take playlist, and we'll go out to Ray. Take playlist. You can count me in.
Okay. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Judea Murray. Remember, we have been covering what will be the funeral, the celebration of life for Officer Pradeep Tamang, a Gwinnett County officer who unfortunately lost his life in the line of duty. I want to get right out to our reporter, Ray Yarena, who is kind of covering this. Ray, I heard this will all begin at 10 a.m. What are you seeing right now? It's only 9:30.
Hey, Judea, we're still seeing some people starting to trickle into the church. Police had asked everybody to be inside by 9:30. We are expecting a procession from the funeral home in the next 15 or so minutes here at 12 Stone Church. That's off of Buford Drive near the city of Lawrenceville. Just showing you around once again that a lot of the parking spaces are being filled by officers and agencies from all across the Atlanta metro. We have Cobb County Police here. We have Gainesville Police here. We have Decatur Police here. I also see a Georgia Gwinnett College cruiser here just a bit down the road. On the other line, we saw a Dorville police car that has also made the trip up to Lawrenceville to pay their respects and support the Gwinnett County Police Department during this time after the loss of Officer Pradeep Tamang. And this is a customary thing that the law enforcement agencies around the Southeast especially do whenever there is a loss of life of an officer or an officer who dies in the line of duty. They do send a representative from the department to just show their support. Now, earlier in the stream, I misstated the last name of the suspect involved, allegedly involved in Officer Tamang's death. That suspect's name is Kevin Andrews, and Officer Tamang was responding last Sunday. You may remember during the snowstorm. He was responding to a Holiday Express hotel near the Stone Mountain area. Basically, a South Carolina man had called the hotel stating that his credit card was used, and then Officer Tamang and Officer David Reed were invited inside the room that Kevin Andrews had allegedly booked with that credit card, that fraudulently booked with that credit card allegedly. And the officers notified that Andrews had a warrant out of DeKalb County for his arrest, and they went to arrest him, and that's when police said that Andrews opened fire and the officers returned fire, also hitting Andrews. Now, Officer David Reed that we've mentioned, he's been in hospital. He's gone through surgery. Officer Tamang, unfortunately, was pronounced dead just a few hours after that shooting, and Andrews was hit with non-life-threatening injuries. But it's not just here at the church where all these celebration has been going on, and remembrance has been going on for Officer Tamang. Earlier this week, there's been a lot of vigils for Officer Tamang all across the Atlanta metro. We also spoke to a family friend not too long ago, earlier this week, and this is what he had to say about the young officer.
I think that's how we have to live our life, always looking to serve, looking to help other people. I think that's his legacy, and we need to follow through.
Yeah, and Officer Tamang had just graduated from the Gwinnett County Police Academy this past May 2025. Before that, he was a corrections officer at the Dauphin County prison, and he also started his career as a private investigator, rather. And I just want to show a quick clip of Officer Tamang graduating from the police academy.
Officer Pradeep Tamang, who will be pinned by his mother, Sancha Tamang.
And you can hear the claps and, his mother pinning his badge on him, a proud moment. And that moment for the Tamang family. A little bit about Officer Tamang is that he enjoyed animals and one day wanted to open his own animal sanctuary. He also, outside of work, loved playing video games, watching videos on social media, just kind of like what any young person would do. He was born in 2000, April 2000 in Nepal, immigrated to the United States and resettled in the United States in 2008. So just at 25 years old, his life was cut short. And the department, on their biography that they posted online, they ended it with, though his life was far too short, Pradeep lived with purpose, ambition, and heart. His dedication, kindness, and dreams will always be remembered. Judea.
There are a couple of things I wanted to go over too. I mean, watching the graduation and seeing the claps, but also listening to you talk about just how much he enjoyed being an officer, the department actually had a record that said, and I quote, he absolutely loved being a police officer and took great pride in his work. There have been some stories that are being shared about the kind of person that Officer Tamang was, and if you don't mind, I want to share one of them. Earlier this week, I heard that there was a mother who was extremely touched, especially touched by what was going on here and hearing that Officer Tamang lost his life. But she said that her 11-year-old son, who's on the autism spectrum, he was having some sort of medical episode. And she called the Gwinnett County Police Department for some help. And Officer Tamang is the one who actually ended up responding to that situation. She said the way he just cared immediately for her child. He even offered to take the little boy to go get McDonald's. She just said she hadn't seen something like that before. So that just kind of speaks even more. I mean, we heard from the family friend. We're seeing how the officers are coming out in full support for him and his family. And just hearing that anecdote too of how he actually got into the community and really helped, even though he was so young, just lets you know what kind of person this truly was. Incredible story there.
Absolutely, Judea. And I love that story, just hearing that story from you. But when we got here, Corporal Ryan Winderweedle is the public information officer for Gwinnett County Police. He's been on about helping set up the logistics on here. They've been preparing for this all week. Corporal Winderweedle told me that he had a brief interaction with Pradeep Tamang. He spent about 2 weeks before he went into the academy, just kind of like visiting the different departments. But he described him as just such a nice guy and one of the nicest people you ever meet. And there's other people that got to know him better. But Corporal Winderweedle told me earlier today that he was just one of the nicest people you will ever meet. And this is such a big loss for the department.
Absolutely. I mean, I can imagine. I'm sure everybody who's streaming with us can imagine as well. I'm going to keep looking through to see some of the responses and reactions that we're getting from our viewers. But Ray, in the meantime, I'm going to let you go. I know everything will be getting started soon, so I don't want to impede on your ability to cover that. You guys, if we can come back to me here in studio, we are hearing that while that celebration of life is happening for an officer who lost his life during an officer-involved shooting, there is a large police presence located, I believe it was on Cheshire Bridge Road. Our Caitlin Pratt rushed out to the scene. She's there now and is able to join us. Caitlin, what are you seeing? How many police officers would you say are in the area? Pink.
Here, Cheshire Bridge Road. Yes, let me set the stage for you here. It's where La Vista turns
guys,
into
you can
Lindbergh.
Hear me. Are you going to take me after Caitlin?
Back from a couple of months.
And you can see here that, Judea, I'm taking out my IFB because I can hear you over the air. But yes, this is the situation. When I arrived here probably about 10 minutes ago, the street was just cordoned off here. And ever since law enforcement have been arriving, and they seem to be staging right here on the corner at that CVS. You see all different jurisdictions. We're talking Atlanta police also saw some MARTA vehicles as well, in addition to fire crews here on scene. So the apartment complex that we were notified by a Fox 5 viewer is down the road a bit, probably about a mile down Cheshire Bridge Road, and they, of course, clearly are creating a large perimeter there. The circumstances on exactly what happened, unclear, but what it is very evident is that this is a serious, urgent situation. You really see so much or so many law enforcement gathering in one spot, and the quick reaction shutting down that roadway happening from the time I left the station to the time I was arriving here, about 10 minutes time, before I was able to take that right to go onto Cheshire Bridge Road and get a closer look at what exactly was transpiring. I am going to keep an eye on things. We have our Fox 5 assignment desk reaching out to both APD and also the GBI to see if they are involved in this current ongoing investigation. But if you do have any business in this area, yeah, you're going to want to avoid it, because the whole entire area is shut down at this point, traffic being rerouted and access to this shopping center. This is, let me see, where the Terra Theater is located. And then, of course, this is Cheshire Bridge intersection where La Vista turns into Lindbergh. So heading toward Buckhead and then heading toward East Atlanta. So all shut down at this point. I'm going to send it back to you in the studio, Judea. I don't have my IFB in because I had taken it out, but you can come back to me as soon as we get a little bit more information.
For sure. Caitlin, thank you so much for giving us this live look. We'll be able to chit-chat with her a little later on when she'll be able to hear us. But you guys, just the crazy situation that is unfolding out there as we continue our conversation. Now, I'm taking a look at the time. I do believe we need to take a step back. When we come back, though, I want to go over some of the biggest court cases, some legal issues that we are seeing here in Georgia, how they pertain to you, and what you need to know if you'd like to continue keeping up with us this week ahead. We'll be right back. guys, I'm Jade Murray. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. We heard that there was a man accused in multiple sexual assault cases, and he may now be facing a judge. It looks like, sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties there. He may now be facing a judge. We're getting ready for that. Get right out to our Kim Luffler, who went to check this scene out. Kim, can you tell us some more details about this man and the cases, the allegations that he's facing?
Yeah, absolutely, Judea. So this first appearance, we are waiting on that a little later on this morning. We're told that it is expected to happen at 11:30. The suspect's name here is Kwame Shabazz. I believe we do have some video as well. Now, Shabazz has a lengthy criminal history here in Fulton County. Police also believe he's behind another rape in College Park. Now, Atlanta police asked for the public's help to find him in a press conference that happened on Thursday afternoon. They say he forced his way into a Buckhead apartment complex on Cosmopolitan Drive on January 22nd. Investigators say Shabazz spotted a female victim taking her trash out and ambushed her, forcing her back into her apartment where they say he raped her. Now, police say the next day, Shabazz exposed himself to another woman on Piedmont Road, right near that same complex, and police also do believe that he is homeless. Detectives say in both of those recent situations, the victims played a key role in helping them identify Shabazz. Now, take a listen to some of what police had to say during that during that press conference where they asked for the public's help. Take a listen.
Victim called 911 immediately after it happened. She's been very cooperative, very brave. She was able to put out a sketch for us, the GBI as well, and she was able to identify him in a lineup that conducted. So, very brave person. She came forward right away in the sexual assault, and then we commend her for what she's done, and she's actually been cooperative in the investigation as well.
And police say Shabazz faces multiple charges now, including rape, sexual battery, and false imprisonment, as well as burglary. In Fulton County alone, he's had multiple arrests dating back to 2015 when he was charged and convicted of attempted murder, and he has been in and out of the jail here multiple times. The last time that he was released from the jail was in August of last year. So again, he is expected to make his first appearance here a little later on this morning, and we will keep you updated as soon as that happens. Judea.
Caitlin, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about our next story ahead. Kim, thank you so much for walking us through the details here while we're all trying to make some sense of it too. I said earlier that, not just for women, but anybody listening to this story, especially if you live in the area, it's probably a little nerve-wracking knowing that somebody who allegedly had so many, convictions, but also so many allegations against them was able to come back out onto the streets and potentially harm another person. So there are going to be a lot of eyes on this. 11:30 is when we believe that will all begin.
Yes, that's the latest information that we have, is that it's scheduled to happen at 11:30. And another thing, too, with this, Judea, is during that briefing with the press a little bit earlier this week, Atlanta police did say that this was entirely random. He did not know this woman from the incident, from the alleged rape in Buckhead. So, that's certainly another layer of kind of shock and concern with this story as well.
Got you. Kim, again, thank you so much for keeping us up to date. I want to see if we can take a live look back out there on Cheshire Bridge Road, where we heard from our Caitlin Pratt there was a large police presence. At least if we can get her camera up. I want to see if we can take that image live for you guys. Again, you're seeing it now. We don't have so many details on what exactly took place there. We do know our Caitlin Pratt is working to get all of the answers for you guys, but this is live happening right now. You see that one officer in the middle of the street kind of blocking it off. You also see another officer a little further down. It looks like the Terra Theater blocking off that entrance. And then you see all of these officers. Oh, wow. Caitlin's zoom is great. All these officers in the parking lot at a CVS. I'm not quite sure if the investigation, the crime scene, is really harbored over there or if it's nearby, but we'll be checking back in with our Caitlin in just a little bit to see if we can get some more details for you all. Let's see if we can come back here in studio. I brought back out our meteorologist, Greg Majeski. Greg, You've been keeping up with what's going on in the skies.
Oh, yeah.
While we are handling everything down on the grounds. What are you seeing in terms of the rest of the day? What will it look like?
Well, I see it's going to be kind of a cool day today. You know, it's we had a little bit of a spring teaser yesterday.
Yes, we
got
did.
65 at the airport.
It was glorious.
Models completely busted that, but I wasn't complaining. I was not complaining at all. And today it's going to be a bit on the cool side, but we are going to be warmer tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we can really have the true, honest February thaw. I'm not saying we're through with winter, by the way. I want to say that. I still think we're going to get another polar disruption probably toward the end of the month.
And your predictions have been right so far. Don't say that to me.
I was actually back there looking at some stuff and just kind of reading some things, and I think. Yeah, I'm thinking toward the end, toward the last week of February, we're making another shot coming down here. And well, I mean, there's another cool. We got a little cool down next weekend that'll come in, but not really a real good polar shot. Not like we no.
Okay.
But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast right here today. We are temperatures are a little chilly out there. We're still holding on almost at the 10 o'clock hour, and it's still 40, 35, 43 in Covington, 38 in Carrollton. So everybody, it's going to be a struggle today. Most areas will be now areas to the south and east of us. They get a northwest wind. They get a little bit of a help from what we call orographic flow there. You're kind of downsloping a little bit, so they warm up a little bit there. So they get a little bit of help, but otherwise it's not going to be too bad today. But we're going to have to deal with the cold temperatures. That's going to be a big thing there. So let's go on to the next slide here. Here we go. The other part of the story today is we're dealing with the winds. They're still gusting out there. Look at 28 mile per hour wind gusts there in Atlanta still last hour. 18 in Gainesville, 18 in Blairsville. So that's going to add that feel like temperature, make it feel a bit colder out there. So we're talking single digits and teens up in the mountains to it's cold. It's still cold. We're still in winter, folks. We're not quite there yet. So the winds are going to stay up for most of today, but they will begin to subside going in toward tonight. So that's going to set up for some pretty good radiational cooling tonight. That's when the Earth kind of says, okay, here's all the heat I gained for the day. I'm going to give it right back to the atmosphere. And with winds relatively light, we're going to see most areas getting down to the 20s for tomorrow morning. And then we're looking pretty good here for the start of the week. In fact, with high pressure moving on off here, looking pretty good there on Sunday. We'll start getting a westerly wind. You know that flow around high is clockwise, so we're going to get a westerly wind. Started building here later in the day on Sunday and Monday. That's going to warm things up nicely, so expect temperatures to shoot right back into the 60s as we go in toward Monday. And I think that hangs around most of the week. May get a few 70-degree temperatures in here. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility here. But we're going to have to deal with a pretty fast flow across the country, which means we're going to be dealing with some weaker systems, not very big ones, at least the way it's looking right now. I'm waiting for the new data. It's just kind of chewing right now to come on in here to see what next weekend looks like. But right now, again, today, 40s, 50s out in the southwest, what we're going to see there for afternoon highs, and then overnight lows tonight. A lot of 20s out there. I think these are a little high, but I think 25. 20s there, we're looking a there. And then as we go look at the daytime highs for tomorrow, again, closer to normal, where they should be in the 50s for tomorrow. Then as far as the rest of the 7-day forecast is concerned, again, we got 60s back in here, and say goodbye to the freezing temperatures, at least for a little while, as we don't have anything beyond Monday. Once you get past Sunday, Monday, the rest of the week, nope, no morning lows down to 30s or anything like that.
Greg, as far as I'm concerned, we can kiss the 30s. Goodbye. Goodbye.
We're not through yet. We got to get through February.
Right. Stop saying that to me. Right. I'd like to live in Delululand. All right, you guys, I do want to see if we could take a live look out, by the way. Remember, we are keeping up to date with a funeral that will be happening shortly. This is all taking place at a church. Let's get that live look out for you all, where we know that the officer, Pradeep Tamang, will be coming into that church carried in by his pallbearers. This is happening live as we speak. That funeral is set to begin at 10 a.m. When it does begin, I want to let you know right now, we will not be taking commercial breaks. We will be airing that full service for you guys right here on Fox Local, on our YouTube channel, on TikTok. I believe we're also maybe on Instagram and Facebook as well. People have lined the streets to pay their respects, to say their final goodbyes to a young officer in his 20s. He came all the way from Nepal. He came here to the U.S., set up shop with his family in Pennsylvania, and then he found himself a job here, Gwinnett County, where he was a beloved officer known for his love for animals and how he really truly cared for the people around him. One of my favorite stories hearing while we've been reporting on the life and legacy that he's leaving behind is this one woman who told us that her 11-year-old son, who's on the autism spectrum, he had been having some sort of mental health episode and he needed help. So she called the Gwinnett County Police Department, and in turn, they sent out Officer Pradeep Tamang to the scene. She said that he was so kind to her son, actually at one point in time offering to take him to McDonald's to help him calm down. It really clicked with him. And so she was devastated to learn the news that he had lost his life in the line of duty. Now, if you don't know anything about this situation at all, let's run through some of the top details for you all. Officer Pradeep Tamang and his partner, Officer David Reed, were responding to a hotel in Stone Mountain for a quote-unquote fraud call. When they got to the scene, they met with the suspect, who invited them into his room. Once there, apparently things took a left turn and he opened fire. The officers returned fire. All of the people involved were shot during this incident. Unfortunately, Officer Tamang lost his life. We do know that his partner, Officer David Reed, was sent to the hospital in critical condition. He's had to undergo surgery at this point in time, but they do believe he's making tremendous progress, and he is expected to be able to leave at some point in time, which is phenomenal news. Really our silver lining throughout all of this. We do know that the suspect was identified as 35-year-old Kevin Andrews. Investigators say Andrews had used a fake credit card in order to book his room, so that was the fraudulent call that they were responding to. While attempting to take Andrews into custody with some other outstanding warrants, again, we know that bullets rang out. Everybody in that room was shot. Andrews was also taken to the hospital, where he is expected to face charges and the consequences of his alleged actions. This all taking place along East Park Place Boulevard off of US 78. Again, this is all happening near Stone Mountain. So when we broke that news to you all this previous weekend, it was a jaw dropper. We were trying to get some more information as much as we could as the time went on. Unfortunately, it took quite a while for us to get anything of substance to you all. And we learned that it took so long and so much time because they were trying to be I guess you could say kind, thinking about the family, the people who would have to hear the details of what happened, maybe not by word of mouth, but by hearing it on social media or on a live stream like this. And so they were being very sensitive, that's the word I was looking for, sensitive to the families. We know that Officer Pradeep Tamang's family was actually still in Pennsylvania. They had to be taken here to Georgia for this celebration of life that you're taking a look at right there. So we know that Tamang is also leaving behind a 22-year-old fiance. He has some family friends as well who are mourning his loss, and so many colleagues. I mean, you could just see them lining that bridge right there, the opening to 12 Stone Church, where this is all taking place. So in addition to this scene that you're seeing out there, we know that after the funeral, you're going to see a processional. We have our chopper flying over the scene, and eventually we will be able to get you some live pictures as well from that procession, but we're expecting the celebration of life. It was supposed to begin at 10 a.m. They have not entered the church there just yet, but from this aerial view, you can see just how many people have come out to pay their respects. It looks like you see some more people coming up, walking along in the streets. We're seeing officers from a couple of different agencies. This is streaming, by the way, also on Facebook, and it looks like almost 600 of you guys are joining in there. So we've got this on the ground shot for you all. We also have that aerial view so that we have a full picture of everything that is happening there. Want to keep this going. I'm going to stop talking just in case there may be some sound over this live shot that you guys are seeing. Let's see if we can hear anything. All right, it looks like we may not have sound on this shot just yet. But again, in case anybody is wondering what we are talking about, let me see if I can get a banner up there for you all so you can see it. This is a celebration of life for an officer who was killed in the line of duty. His name is Pradeep Tamang. He was born in Nepal on April 8th, 2000. So when I say young, you guys, I mean young. He resettled here in the United States in 2008 and in no time was able to distinguish himself as a bright, ambitious, and an intelligent young man with a deep passion, not just for learning, but also for serving his community, for helping other people. And I'm trying to get a better look. I cannot tell if we are seeing the casket now on the ground out there, or if this is some other sort of object being pulled into the church. From the looks of it, I do believe that we may be taking a look at the casket here. I wanted to take that moment to be quiet because I wasn't sure if they were doing a salute, and it felt like an appropriate moment to have a moment of silence. But here's some more information that we do have about Officer Tamang, and now that I have a better look, another angle, I do not believe that is the casket, but it may be the bottom piece that will help roll him into the church. Again, this is all taking place at 12 Stone Church. So Officer Tamang, like I said, was a very intelligent young man. In 2019, he graduated from the Akron Early College High School with a diploma and an associate degree in arts. In 2021, he earned his bachelor's degree in national security from the University of Akron. In 2023, he completed a Master of Arts in Political Science and Security Studies, and then he joined the Gwinnett County Police Department. He worked as a private investigator and a correctional officer. He did a lot, you guys. While he was dedicated to his role as an officer, he had other ambitions that extended towards further service and education. He said he had plans to pursue a PhD, he wanted to serve in the military, and eventually, because he did study political science, he wanted to enter the world of politics at some point in time. Now, outside of the classroom, outside of work, he was known for his curiosity, his wide range of personal interests. We know that he loved animals. He was a fan of video games, reading. He also liked building new things. He liked learning new things. He had a particular fondness for animals, and he harbored a dream to one day open an animal sanctuary. Unfortunately, these things will not come to pass by him, but maybe somebody will pick up his legacy and continue the call for action that he had going on. It looks like they are now bringing in his casket. These are the pallbearers that we see here. So many officers from a number of different agencies showed up to show their support, to show the family just how important this young man was and how loved he is and how he will always be remembered. And you can see all the officers there standing at attention, standing with their salute. The American flag, of course, is draped over Officer Tamang's casket. This is customary anytime a political figure or an officer is mourned at a funeral. They'll drape over the American flag over their caskets. If I could tell you a little bit more about family and friends who had beautiful things to say about Officer Tamang, we were able to speak to a family friend, Bakash, who said that hearing about all of this, how Tamang had come here, had set himself up for success, set his family up to have a beautiful life, and then quote unquote die like this is so heartbreaking. He described his friend as someone with immense passion, also someone who was very peaceful. He said that Tamang had the outlook of a person who was just peaceful in nature, and that he had a great smile, a great personality, and just a great overall outlook on life. We know that Governor Brian Kemp has ordered flags to fly at half-staff all day today. This, of course, is the same day as Officer Tamang's funeral, who we're watching here live. When this celebration of life concludes, we are expecting to see a procession where you will see community members lining the streets as they say their final goodbyes. It is expected to be a beautiful but somber sight, and we will be streaming all of it. So stick with us here on Fox 5 News Live. Remember, we will not be taking commercial breaks, so you will be able to see this celebration, this service in its entirety. The department, as you can imagine, is still trying to make sense of this. They lost one of their own. Another one is in the hospital. That is Officer David Reed, who was with Officer Tamang during this shooting, and essentially was there when his partner lost his life. I can only imagine how he must feel holding that, and being able to go back to his family, but knowing his partner will not have that same opportunity. You're seeing as they get closer to entering 12 Stone Church, where that celebration of life is expected to take place. His brothers and sisters in their blue service uniform, bringing him in, where family and friends will be able to mourn him in peace there at 12 Stone Church. This is a public celebration of life. Anybody who was not able to make it is invited to stream with us, as you guys are. I have a feeling there's probably not going to be an empty seat in the room. So now they're coming through the vestibule, where they'll make it into the sanctuary where the service is expected to take place. This all beginning at around 10 a.m., although we saw them pull up to the scene closer to about 9:54. We're hearing from some other family, some other friends, and some other colleagues that Tamang was the kind of person who was always excited to share a story, whether it was something that happened to him out there on the job. He said he genuinely looked forward to his shifts. Something beautiful there about him. The department says that he served and protected the community, and that it meant a lot to him. You're taking a look there at the police chief walking in, leading the way. I remember when the police chief held that press conference where he had to announce the identities of everyone involved, and you could just see how gutted he felt, explaining how this young man had lost his life that day. For those who don't know, 12 Stone Church is located at 1322 Buford Drive in Lawrenceville. Again, this started at 10 a.m. It is a public celebration of life, so anyone was welcome to come in and pay their respects, although I would guarantee there's probably not an open seat in there. So those of you who are with me, we can stream it live, and actually it does look like there are a couple of seats that have not been filled just yet, but perhaps those are seats that will be filled by the officers that are still standing outside waiting to come in after Tamang is brought to the front of the church. The department is asking for everyone out there to keep Officer Tamang, his family, his friends, and his colleagues in their thoughts and prayers while they are still trying to grieve this terrible loss. They have asked for privacy for the family, so don't reach out to them directly. Now, when this service concludes, that procession will go from 12 Stone Church to Tim Stewart Funeral Home at 300 Simonton Road in Lawrenceville. It will consist of the hearse, the family, Gwinnett County Police Department's personnel, and a couple of other people from different law enforcement agencies. The whole community will be out participating in this celebration, procession, saying goodbye to their friend. The only thing that they seem to be asking, if you do want to attend that procession, because you have quite some time to get out there, you guys who are streaming from here in Georgia, they're asking for people not to stop, not to stand, and do not park in the roadway itself. So find maybe a parking lot along the route. That's where they're hoping that you'll take your cars, or maybe you'll walk out there. But they're trying to make sure that they are not stopping more traffic than necessary, and that they will be able to bring the hearse through without any problems. So again, they're asking for people not to stop, stand, or park in the roadway. You can see photos there of Officer Tamang on either side of his casket, and above on the stage. One of the things that I want to point out, that number you see there, 2741, that's his badge number. Again, they say that he took a lot of pride in his work, took a lot of pride in that number. He earned it. He graduated from the Gwinnett County Police Academy in May of 2025, so he didn't have that much time on the force before this happened. But in that very brief period of time, he clearly made such a tremendous impression on his community, on his colleagues, on his boss, because you see just how many people have filled out that room. Any minute now, we are expecting this ceremony to begin. It looks like everybody is getting in place. You guys, at this point in time, I'm going to be quiet and we'll listen in together if we can. All right, this is the voice of Judea Murray again, joining you all on the live stream. We are aware that there is no sound coming from this celebration of life ceremony. We're working on the situation. It is a known issue, technical issue. We're hoping to be able to bring you some sound in just a little bit. In the meantime, if I can go back over a couple of more details for you guys who are just joining us in here for the first time, we are looking at the celebration of life for Officer Pradeep Tamang. He was a beloved officer of Gwinnett County who was shot and killed in the line of duty just last weekend. We actually broke that news right here on Fox 5 News Live when it happened. We're trying to figure out as much information as we could, get it out to you quickly. And unfortunately, we did learn from a press conference led by the police chief that unfortunately 2 officers were shot, one of them critically injured, the other, now we know as Pradeep Tamang, was killed in the line of duty. So let's go back over some of those details, and then I want to tell you a little bit more about who Officer Tamang was. So first and foremost, we know that they were responding to a hotel along East Park Place Boulevard off of US 78. This all happening near Stone Mountain. Now, according to the Gwinnett County Police Department, Officer Tamang and Master Police Officer David Reed were shot in a quote-unquote unprovoked attack by 35-year-old Kevin Andrews. Investigators say Andrews had used a fake credit card to book a room, and so the officers were called to investigate a fraud case. During that point in time, they say Andrews invited them into the room that he was in and then opened fire. Officers then returned fire, so all 3 people in the room were shot. Andrews survived. Unfortunately, Officer Tamang did not. Meanwhile, MPO Reed underwent surgery. We're hearing reports, doctors are saying that he's making excellent progress in his recovery, which I keep saying is kind of the silver lining out of all of this. No good news here, really, but that is the one thing that we can count on, something that is positive in this situation. Andrews is expected to face charges for what happened. The shooting does remain under investigation by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, which is protocol anytime an officer here in Georgia deploys their weapon. So now, present day, we're at 12 Stone Church. This is located at 1322 Buford Drive in Lawrenceville, where a celebration of life is being held for Officer Pradeep Tamang. Guests were asked to be in their seats by 9:30. At 10 a.m. is when this celebration of life essentially began, where we were waiting outside and we saw Officer Tamang's casket being brought up and then led into the church. He was surrounded or lined up on either side of a bridge by fellow officers of various agencies who were standing at attention there with a salute on, as they were welcoming him into the church for this celebration where they would be talking about his life, his legacy, the kind of person he was. I'm expecting that the officer who we see on the screen right now, seemingly getting pretty emotional as he is talking, is probably going over some details of who Officer Tamang truly was. And I do want to let you know, keep in mind that if you're in the Georgia area, if you're nearby Lawrenceville, you can come out. This is public. You can come out to the procession that will happen right after the celebration of life concludes. They're asking people to stand along the procession route. We have more details on where the procession will go up on our website, also on the Fox Local app, where you can check out and make sure that you are in the right area at the right time. But they are asking people to be mindful. Do not stop, don't stand, don't park in the roadway, to make sure that the hearse is able to get through without any problems and that there's no other traffic incidents, unnecessary traffic incidents. So now, who was Officer Tamang? Why are so many people here honoring his life? Why do we have so many stories about the great, kind things he was doing for his community, and he had only been on the force since, I think, May of 2025. Well, that's because of this. Officer Tamang graduated from the Gwinnett County Police Academy in May of 2025. At that point in time, he already knew that he wanted to dedicate his life to serving the community. And according to department records, he absolutely loved being a police officer. He took great pride in his work. People who knew him best said that he was always excited to share stories from the field. He genuinely looked forward to his shifts. He wanted more stories about what it was like being out there, being able to care for the community. And one story that I love, we didn't get this from Tamang, but we got this from a mother who says that she had an 11-year-old son. He's on the autism spectrum, who's having some sort of medical episode, and Officer Tamang was called to the scene to help out. And when he got there, she says he was just so kind and so helpful with her child. Actually, at one point in time, offering to take him to go get McDonald's. It really de-escalated the situation and made her feel like, wow, there are people out here in the community, people who serve and have sworn to protect this community, that really are doing just that. Officer Tamang was born on April 8th, 2000 at a refugee camp in Nepal. He resettled in the United States in 2008 and quickly distinguished himself as being a bright, ambitious, and intelligent young man who had a deep passion for learning. He decided early on that he would be dedicating his life to public services, which is how he found his job with the Gwinnett County Police Department. And I want to tell you a little bit more about his education and his accomplishments, because they are numerous. In 2019, he graduated from Akron Early College High School with a diploma and an associate degree in arts. He also earned a bachelor's degree in national security from the University of Akron in 2021. By 2023, he had already completed his Master of Arts in Political Science and Security Studies. And then he joined the Gwinnett County Police Department working as a private investigator. Before he joined the Gwinnett County Police Department, he worked as a private investigator and a correctional officer at a prison. And while he was dedicated to the role that he had there at Gwinnett County, his ambitions clearly extended toward further service and other education. He said that he had plans to pursue a PhD and serve in the military, and he eventually wanted to enter the world of politics. Unfortunately, he will not be able to do that. But I do hear that now we have sound. I want to let you listen in to the celebration of life in its entirety.
And have with me. He and I probably had our first interaction out on the track. I'm a driving instructor. He's a pretty good driver. He's a good driver. But that was where I was first exposed to his smile and the pictures and so on that you've seen displayed here and on the internet and all that. He's got that smile. Loved it. Loved it. I think it was awesome. He was a happy young man. But that smile was going to get complaints. But he had that smile like, gotcha. Whatever the case is. And even when he wasn't like in a gotcha moment, it's kind of a smirk, smile, or whatever the case may be. He loved what he was doing. He loved being a police officer. His life led up to it. He was purpose-driven. He, too, would do anything he could do to accomplish his goals. It's very evident by the way he was raised. Very evident. I got more time in school far more than I have. Well-spoken, educated, driven, all those things we look for in a police officer. He was driven to help each other, help people. And I think we get into law enforcement for two basic reasons. We want to help people. We want to love them. We will care for them. And we want to take care of those who don't do so good at doing that. We want to serve justice. We want to serve justice. We want to put people in jail. We want to put criminals in jail. And most everybody, you're either on one side or the other of that analogy. We may enjoy one more than the other, but when we can marry it up, then that's a perfect situation. We can help those in need of help, and we can take care of those that cause the need. Tamang was one who liked catching criminals. And as a young man, he liked to hunt. And he liked to hold people accountable for their actions, their poor decisions. He liked it. Now, he was a little eager. He's young. Troopers, he'd been a hell of a trooper. I'll tell you that. He would have trooped with the best of the troopers. I had to pull him back. Hopefully this gets me further along towards the goal. I saw some troopers smile, so I'm winning. I'm winning. But the young man, I just read one of his DORs. He was in my came to be rotation south under my command in the FTO program. And I look back at one of his DORs, and he did, I think it said 13 traffic stops, issued 18 tickets. Yeah, that's on FTO. That's on FTO. And it didn't change. He loves some traffic. He asked me after he got assigned to the shift if he could go to LIDAR class. Pump the brakes there, high speed. Pump the brakes. We'll get you there, but you need to learn how to police out here without the tools and all the technology that we have. Learn the laws. Learn how to enforce the laws and all that. As I always said, a good cop can do all the things that you learned in the academy. A great cop is one that knows the law, knows the policies and the procedures and all that comes along. Because if you can go out here and you can police confidently, you are in a far better place than if you're in the situation and you're wondering, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? No, because now you're wondering what you can do instead of doing what you know you can. That's why you need to be educated. He was an educated young man. But, like I said, he would have been a trooper. Sorry, he came to us. So, to get to the point of that story, he worked an accident, ended up arresting the young man because he had no license, as he should have. What requirements required him to have Georgia law, OCGA 40-5-20, requires you to have da-da-da-da-da. He knew that. Where I had to pull him back, he also wrote him a citation for no license on person. Yeah, see, all right, I'm winning here. No license on person. So I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. I believe in life that every moment is a teaching and a learning moment. I taught, he learned. I said, it's man, I get it. We push y'all, want y'all to do the right thing for the right reasons at the right time so everything is all right. But think about it. If you arrested the man for not having a driver's license, should you write him for not having it on his person? And he didn't get it right away. So I was like, it's a man. If you don't ever have one, it's kind of wrong to write him for not having it on his person. So, you go there. He absolutely loved being the police. He loved it. He was proud of it and all that. And him and I didn't have a whole lot of conversations about his personal life, but I knew he was excited to get married. He was excited. And honestly, I thought he may have got married over the Christmas break and all that. And when all this happened, they were asking me what's the relationships and all that. And I think I told somebody, yeah, I think they got married over the Christmas break. And the form had not been updated, whatever the case was. But he was very excited. He saw me. He loved you. And I have no doubt about that. And he's proud of his upbringing. We had a call with a person from Nepal who was having a mental crisis at the time. And lo and behold, he was from Nepal. Who shows up? He's ready to get in the action. And he shows up, and I'm like, it's meant to be. It's meant to be. Now you can communicate with this gentleman and see what's going on. And so we can make the best determination as to what needs to happen next. And he did exactly that. Didn't hesitate to get in there and do that. Chief, I came up here, I had the mission statement and the vision printed out. I was going to read it in case I needed to have some good point here, bad point here type thing. I think I was going to be winning on that. Just right there, that was a +10. And I'm doing pretty good so far. I don't think I've crossed any lines that go to the minus, but this whole event has been extremely hard for me as a leader, because, like I said, he felt like a son. He felt like my son. Like all of you in law enforcement feel like a brother or a sister or an uncle or nephew. We'll stop there. That may be on the minus side, but and try to raise them right, teach them, and so on. And this hits a whole nother way. And I got to think about what I was going to say, and whatever's printed out there is a mess, probably. So it may be a good thing it's not up here. But one of the things that I've taken away from this whole experience, when I was talking to somebody, maybe this experience, he's working through me and what I share up here, because it's flipped the script on how I typically handle these things. Even when our Gwinnett County Police brother, Antoine Tony, was taken, I wasn't. This is a whole nother level because of my intimacy with Tamang. And the day of, when I share this in hopes that you go forth and share it, and if it helps one other person, great. There is no downside to sharing this. And as a boss, a leader, a brother, a dad, a couple of majors pulled me aside. They just happened to be my brothers, my friends, pulled me aside and made me sit down with our clinician, Pedge, and have a conversation with him. We had a conversation, and in there, cried a little bit more than I normally would have. My typical thing was go home, handle it privately, move along, go in back to work the next day, suppress the feelings, suppress the anger, suppress the tears, do all that in private. I'd go out for a run, go into the woods and break sticks and throw rocks. I learned early on it wasn't worth breaking valuable stuff because you got to replace it. But that's how I would handle it prior to this intervention, or whatever you want to call this expression of love, because that's what it was. They saw that I was hurting, and they saw the need, and you can either be part of the problem or you can be part of the solution. They're part of the solution for me personally. And hence, I want to be part of your solution if you start to encounter something like this. Pedge worked his magic. The major in there. I'm going to say it, sorry. Negative point. Major Eric Penn, my best friend in this department. Because of his love, I opened up in there, spoke my feelings a little bit in there, and then got back to handling the situation. Bury myself in work is how I'd handle it. Went out to the car, cried a whole lot of tears. I may have been told to go home. This is one of those negative point things, sir, but I've got a memo already prepared for consideration if necessary. There's a 122 in my truck. 122 is our reported disciplinary action. So I still think I'm in the high. If I get close, I'll quit talking, period. But went out to the truck, cried for quite some time, and then I went to the hospital to see Reed. Today is about Sinead, but Reed, incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. He did everything he could, and a knucklehead is my kind word for him right now, is where he should be. Justice will prevail. And then after that, I went and saw Angsama at her house, and I told her there, if there was words I could speak, I would speak them. Again, the composure people have when they're up here and going through this amazes me. She was more composed at that time than I was myself. And I started sensing that she was getting less composed, and so it was a short and brief meeting, but I thought it was very important to go in there and see her immediately. So that's what I did. It's okay. And that has got me through that whole experience of spilling your guts, whatever you want to call it, changing the way I handle things, and why I share it is why I share it with you. If it gets you through it. Had that not happened, I probably wouldn't be up here. Selfishly, when all that happened, I knew high percentage of the time the boss is going to be asked to speak, being myself or his sergeants and all that. And honestly, I hoped I was not. But I decided to at that time. If I am, I will. Because if that helps make this moment, this particular moment right now, or any involved in all this, a little bit better, to hear my words, and my words express our sincere love and gratitude for Tamang, then goal accomplished, continue the mission. And I'll close with that. Tamang knew his purpose, and he lived life with purpose. He did what it took to accomplish his goals, handled the task, did each task so he would accomplish his goals. And he knew what he wanted to do. Like I said, he loved policing. Every supervisor, every manager, every leader wants that officer that you go, come on back, instead of, hey, get on out there. But it's our job as supervisors and leaders to build officers' confidence. When you graduate the academy, all you've demonstrated is that you are competent. Some of you come out more competent than others. That's all right. That's why we're here. Because we're going to work some magic on those who need to work magic on. And we're going to help you determine whether or not you can be successful. We are going to make you more confident. You are going to go out here and do what you want to do, what your dream is, help people, put perps in jail, do 1037s, traffic stops, write tickets. Hopefully a high percentage of them are proper tickets and all that. But he was driven to serve. He was driven to be the police. He loved doing it. And like I told B rotation at the medical examiner's office after we got him there, we honor Tamang simply by continuing doing what we do to the best of our abilities. You go out there and you police to the best of your abilities. That's exactly what he would have done. He would have grieved if it were somebody else. He would have grieved just like we're grieving. But he would have shown up the next work day. I'm pretty confident of that. I'm certain of it. He would have been showed up the next work day. Let's go. Let's go. More driven to go out there to find that criminal and help in that way versus answering the call for a domestic situation. He's going to go out there and hunt. Help the motoring public by all the traffic stops. Saving lives by police presence out there, slowing down the awesome Gwinnett drivers that like to drive so fast. He would have wanted us to continue the mission, which I would refer back to with the mission statement and all that. Another thing I like to preach and teach for you new officers that may be here, young officers, because I know there's several of them, the 121, that's y'all. Y'all feel like you're salty now. I get it, because there's an academy class below you. You're not the new guy in roll call. Ms. Gomez took over that position on B rotation. Tamang was happy because he didn't get the cop quizzes. And we have conversations about that and becoming the best cop you can be. So you can be a good cop by demonstrating your knowledge and all that, but a great cop is a smart cop. Know for your safety, the citizen's safety, the proper ways to do our job. So when you do what you got to do, you can say, when the chief calls you in the office and says, "Why did you do this?" "Your policy, sir." And then it wouldn't happen with our chief because he would already squared it away and be like, "Okay, handle it down there." But your policy, sir. And then he has an awkward moment. "Oh, my bad." He's got the power to change the policies and procedures and all that. So for your safety, so that we don't have to sit in here again, please educate yourself. And most importantly, back to you young officers, you come out here and you got that bright, shiny badge upon your chest. You might think you're invincible. You're not. You're not. And if you abuse the power that the state and the citizens have entrusted you with, you only hurt our mission. That's all you do. We have a very, very, very good relationship here in Gwinnett County with our citizens. Because, here, hammer home the point, we care about them. Care about the people you serve. As a supervisor, as a leader, as a police, as a husband, as a son, simply care about what you do and why you do it. Strive for perfection, for if you fall short, you're still in a good place. I guarantee you're probably succeeding. And then next time, go and achieve perfection. Strive for it. Will you ever achieve it? No, probably not. But that's how we honor Tamang. Go out here and continue doing what he loved to do. And if you want to throw in on your citation, troopers, feel free to do so. Not that you need my permission. IHO 2741, that's his badge number. They might start saying that here on the Gwinnett County Recorders. So just so it's out there on some of my citations, because like I say, you've been a good trooper. Thank you again for all your love, support, everything that you've done thus far, that you will continue to do. For me personally, from every Gwinnett County police employee, every Gwinnett County employee, and on behalf of every other brother and sister there is here. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Pitts, and I was Officer Tamang's first assigned direct supervisor after he graduated from field training and was released to solo capacity. Afterwards, I was Officer Tamang's supervisor for just about the entirety of his time in patrol, just up until a few days prior to his passing. Once Officer Tamang graduated from field training and was assigned to me, I immediately took a liking to him based on how he carried himself and his background. The three main things which specifically stood out were his sense of humor, which is right up my alley, his way of keeping things in perspective, and his underdog story, as I tend to always root for the underdog. So that's a testament to you, the family, sitting in the front row. You did a job well done in raising Officer Tamang. As we began working together, I would speak with Officer Tamang often. And once you learned his story, you saw he lived a life which was quite inspirational. Officer Tamang told me of his background in which he and his family came to this country as a refugee from Nepal. Thus, it was motivational to see, despite his unideal circumstances and the obstacles facing his upbringing, nothing had been able to stop him, and he was making quite the life for himself. You could also tell early on he was ambitious, dedicated to accomplish anything he set out to desire, and if he wanted something, you couldn't tell him no for an answer. From his educational achievements to him graduating the police academy even after being recycled, and him actively pursuing and planning out his future goals and aspirations, nothing could stop him. You see the American flag draped over his casket. He was, in essence, the definition of the American dream. It was a pleasure to work alongside of Officer Tamang every day, and there was never a boring moment. Officer Tamang and I went to numerous calls together, and just about every call we went to, it was always some sort of action or drama going on, or something where I'd show up and say with a sigh, "Tamang, what'd you get into this time?" It got to a point where we would joke, and I would tell Officer Tamang, we can't keep on going on calls together because I couldn't keep up with the excitement, and I got to keep my blood pressure in check. I also remember I was with Officer Tamang when he made one of his, if not his very first arrest, once he was released to solo capacity by himself and when he was on his own. I recall I was sitting back at a little spot where I like to run traffic, and he came down my way to see what I had going on, similar to how a child may come down and peek into the garage to see what their dad may be working on. It was specifically on Centerville Highway to the state troopers, State Route 124. I would also joke, if anyone who's worked with me, I know we got GSP in the house, but we have our own GSP, Gwinnett State Patrol. While we were there, Officer Tamang, he helped me out, and immediately afterwards, he observed a violation, and he immediately went and conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle. During the stop, Officer Tamang recovered a stolen weapon, which we discovered just so happened to be stolen during a vehicle break-in. And once he recovered the weapon, I recall I immediately saw his pupils get big, and something clicked in his head, similar to a bear's first time eating honey, or a dog's first time when they take a bite of a bone. I could see he was hooked, and it was on from that point. He was taking names and not playing any games. He also asked me if it was that easy, and I told him, yeah, for the most part, just as long as he puts in a little bit of effort. And from that point on, he did just that. He put in the effort day in and day out, so much to the point where I would often have to rein him in like a puppy on a leash and tell him to sit down somewhere. Come sit down with the big dog, sit down next to me. As I watched Officer Tamang develop, I was very impressed at the pace in which he developed, as he was an incredibly fast learner and picked up on things quickly. Every time Officer Tamang showed up to a call, he also always had something to offer. Although I'd only supervised Officer Tamang for just over half a year, towards the end of my time as a supervisor, it felt as if we had worked together for over half a decade, and you could easily begin to mistake him as a veteran. He also would wear these transitional aviator-style sunglasses at times, which would give him that stereotypical seasoned, crusty officer look that you see on motors sometimes. Officer Tamang was highly intelligent and was always thinking outside the box. He also was very tech-savvy and told me how he built computers on the side as well. As it relates, I recall the first time I conducted Officer Tamang's first vehicle inspection, I saw he installed another monitor to his computer stand, and he had a setup which looked like the interior of a Star Wars ship or the loss prevention office at Walmart with all the screens and monitors. I told Officer Tamang, "What is this, man?" In response, he looked at me with a unique grin on his face, the one you see right there. He always has it. And said, "What?" To add to that, he went down to the Georgia Public Safety Training Center in Forsyth, and he got certified in operating radar, and he had a radar unit installed in his vehicle. And that took things up another level, because the radar device, it emits like this futuristic sound, and it flashes these multicolored Christmas lights. So it reminded me of Michael Knight's car, known as Kit, from the 80s TV show Knight Rider. And I would often hear the Knight Rider theme song playing in my mind whenever I saw Officer Tamang cruising around. So to the family, if you're not familiar, please look it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. As he patrolled on a daily basis, you could also clearly see he had a mindset which was dedicated to selfless service. He had a genuine enthusiasm for the job, which could not be replicated, as he probably would do the job for free. And he had a natural gift and disposition for helping others and solving problems. He had a strong work ethic, nothing ever fazed him, and he was very brave, very brave. He also enjoyed the perks of the job as well, one of which included access to just about unlimited food options. Although he was a slender guy, he was always eating. From pizzas to Chick-fil-A to all sorts of snacks and drinks, he was always eating. The good thing about it, though, was him eating was probably the best way to slow him down and keep him reined in. I remember one weekend we worked, there was a Nepalese soccer tournament and a food event or food festival at Mountain Park. And that was the only time I never heard Officer Tamang on the radio, because he was hanging out there and on a 3-day-long food bender. I would also joke that Officer Tamang could probably give the chief a run for his money, as he knew just about everything about the department, more than me, and he probably was one of the department's biggest advocates to the public, bar none, as he was, in essence, a walking billboard for Gwinnett County Police. It is very unfortunate to see how Officer Tamang's life and all he had to offer was taken from the world in an instant, as he was one of one and irreplaceable. You also couldn't want or ask for anything more from a person compared to how Officer Tamang lived his life. Through it all, my greatest condolences go out to Officer Tamang's family, fiance, and loved ones. Although we have never met, I feel as if I probably know a lot about you, because Officer Tamang would often talk about you all to anyone who would listen once he really got to know and speak with him. He would often relate his family to situations he encountered at work, such as during one conversation I recall, how he mentioned his younger brother, if I'm not mistaken, previously totaled his new hybrid vehicle. He said he was originally upset about it, but his ability to keep things in perspective kicked in, and he got over it fast because he mentioned it was just a vehicle and something which was replaceable. Officer Tamang also mentioned to me how he planned on getting married soon and talked about the premarital traditions and customs he practiced in his culture. He also mentioned buying a home and the other future financial obligations he was begrudgingly looking forward to. I also remember I was with Officer Tamang one time, and I happened to look at his cell phone, and I saw his fiance as a screenshot in the background. You know, you have to do a double take. I remember looking at his phone, and then looking at him, looking at his phone, and looking at him, and looking at his phone, and looking at him once again. And I told him, even though you're squared away, you outkicked your coverage on this one, so you may want to go ahead and lock this one up. He responded stating he surely was. Although Officer Tamang will no longer be able to achieve his desired goals he had in mind or carry out the plans he had for his life, the intended impact and results from his desired goals and plans were still accomplished. The last thing I will say to Officer Tamang's family is, Officer Tamang's life matters, he is valued, and his life was not sacrificed in vain. Although he was prematurely taken from us, he made an impression on everyone who he came into contact with, which cannot be forgotten. And when it's all said and done, Officer Tamang won and was a winner in the race of life. So that is how he will always be remembered, as a winner. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Officer Melissa Sheridan, and I had the honor and privilege to be in class 121 with Pradeep. Pradeep had many titles to me. First, he was a fellow pre-recruit, then a classmate. Through literal blood, sweat, and tears, we became colleagues and my brother in blue. But most cherished, Pradeep became my friend. I remember walking into the annex on our first day, and Tamang just beaming with excitement about this journey we agreed to embark on. With his crazy hair and his sideways smirk that always seemed to get him, I should say us, in trouble more than once. 121? Sergeant Bell, Corporal Ricks, Corporal Poole, your words of wisdom to embrace and cherish each other from day one is embedded in each one of us. And we shall continue to support and hold our brothers and sisters up any way that we are called. We thank you three, along with all of the training staff, for pouring everything you had into us and having part into molding us to the men and women that we are today. The first time Tamang got put on his uniform, he couldn't stop smiling and whispering, "Hey Sheridan, we're the police." He was looking forward to continuing his education, so people would have to call him Dr. Officer, sir. Those who know him were very aware of his love of traffic, and he was so happy to be assigned to South and to have a lieutenant that shared his love of radar and pullovers. I loved hearing him brag about snagging such a beautiful, kind soulmate in Asama, and how her family welcomed and embraced him as their own. He spoke with so much respect for his parents and brother, for the sacrifices and journey that they went through together that gave him this life that he loved. I believe when you leave this world, we leave behind a reflection of light that represents the people we had in our lives. For Pradeep, his Gwinnett County community, and Nepalese people, you gave him purpose, respect for all walks of life. To his friends, you gave him his humor and his humility. To his brothers and sisters in blue, you gave him conviction and pride. And to his family, we all thank you so much for giving him compassion and love. I trust that no matter what faith, spirituality, or religion that he's in the good place. Give me grace for this. Awahaku barata pernahati hamelasa desurakcho kukuma aling ganama samati rahas. May Pradeep's arms always be wrapped around us under his protection. Thank you.
I would like to invite up some members of Pradeep's family, his cousin Ashok, his cousin Beenam, his brother-in-law Bahadur, and his fiancée Ingsangnama. Would you please come up?
For being here today to honor Pradeep. Hello everyone, my name is Ingsama, and I want to thank you all for being here today to honor Pradeep. Seeing the community show up for him during this time means a lot, and I know it would have meant so much to him as well. Pradeep truly loved being a police officer. He would come home from work and immediately tell me about his day, what he experienced, what he learned, and the people he helped. Since he was an introvert, he had a goal to become more extroverted and mentioned that being an officer helped him grow to be more outgoing and confident. He had expressed his gratitude towards his precinct and department. I'm thankful that his career helped him grow in so many ways. Pradeep was a loving and caring partner who was always there for me. It was a privilege to love and know him all these years. He came into my life and made it so much better. Knowing Pradeep, he would be so happy to see his legacy being celebrated and respected today. He's being honored in the way he truly deserves, and I hope his legacy lives on, continuing to inspire and give courage to everyone, especially law enforcement officers. I hope he's at peace now, free from stress, and truly happy. Thank you all.
Firstly, I'd like to thank all of you for showing up and being here. I express my sincerest gratitude to see not just family, but the entire community of Gwinnett County over here. I'd just like to say that my name is Beenam Tamang. I was Pradeep's younger cousin. He was 4 years my senior. I'd just like to share a bit about the relationship between me and him and who he was to me. Although he was my cousin, I looked up to him more like a brother, so from now on, I will refer to him as Pradeep Dada, the honorific in our culture for those who are older. Not only was he my cousin, he was the son of my aunt. He was also that one guy at family gatherings I'd see, the one who would always walk up to me, to my younger siblings, to anyone just around, and he would force them to engage in activities. He was a very kind and compassionate person. Whenever he saw anything or anyone out of place, he'd always step up to make sure they were included. In my memories, I often remember him coming back home from school or work or whatever that day. He'd walk up to me and he'd go, "You, let's go get Chick-fil-A." It was either that or he'd pack me, his younger brother again, and whoever was around that day, we'd all cram into his car, we'd go for a walk, metro parks, or just find any activity to do that day. He'd also be a confidant, someone that I would confide in and share my personal life goals and aspirations. He'd often be doting to the point of annoyance. We'd speak on life goals and plans. He'd always ask me about school, my hobbies and interests, girls, the casual older brother stuff. But he'd always speak with genuine care and interest, and I'd always shy away from it because I was the younger brother. I'd always wanted to seem cool and rebellious. But that was our relationship. Pradeep Dada would be the older brother always looking out, whether it was a stern and stoic lecture, a simple joke at your expense, or a passing moment with that smirk right there. And me, the younger brother, would always just brush it off and say, "Dada, I don't care." But now that he's no longer with us, those moments, ignoring his words, that's a regret that I'll carry for a while. Because now he's no longer here to have those conversations, especially when I need his guidance the most now. Like I said, I would remember often going out and just getting simple foods and whatnot. One summer, I spent 2 months with him and his family. And during the whole time, he'd be the one always looking out for me, always saying, "Hey, what do you want to do today? What are we doing today? How are you feeling?" He was also the one that introduced me to my passion of technology and engineering. My cousin was a man who rarely threw anything out, whether it be the Amazon boxes his new PC parts came in, or the old PC parts themselves. I remember that summer, walking in and seeing his setup in his room, and he'd point out each and every single thing. He'd be like, "I have new RAM sticks, I have a new CPU, new coolers," and he'd often give me some of the old stuff he'd had for free, and that's where my love for technology came. But now that compassionate soul is gone, and the more I dwell on it, the more unfair it feels. I feel as if my whole family and I were robbed that Sunday, February 1st. I grieve and mourn the life of my brother, of my dada, but I feel another level of hurt when I realize just what was taken from us. Never again will I hear that voice. Never again can I share my goals and aspirations with him, my accomplishments, what he inspired me to do. Never again will his mother hold her child. Never again can his father stare at his son with pride. Never again can his brother confide in him. Never will I be able to see my brother go old. Never will I be at his wedding. Never will he introduce to me his children. He was only 25, and his life had just begun. He had so much life to live, so much love to be shared, and so much wisdom to impart. And never again will those things happen. An infinite wealth of memories and treasured moments stolen from us. And although there's a deep sorrow and anguish within me, I know that Pradeep Dada wouldn't want me or anyone else to dwell on it forever. He was a man of action and conviction, always moving on ahead to forge his own path. The stories I've heard of his tenacity and dedication to protect and serve and complete his duty are inspiring. What challenges and hardships he must have faced just to get there. And I'd just like to say, although yes, we may never see him again, never hear him, never share a drink or laugh again, I still believe that my older brother, Pradeep, is alive. Because a man truly dies when he is forgotten. And when I stand here and see all the faces and people, all the eyes on me, I can say for certain that my brother is still alive in our memories. And in my heart, he will forever be immortal. Thank you.
Hi. My name's Alina. I'm going to be reading my brother's speech, Tamang's. Before I read this, I want to say that Pradeep Dada treated me like his own little sister. I'm gonna try to be brave and talk about him. Before he came here, we were so close. I was planning to come here March, and he was excited to show me around. His memories will always live with me, and I'll always think about him. He was like my own brother. I'm gonna start the speech that my brother wrote. I am deeply saddened by the tragic incident. Thank you all for gathering here today to honor Police Officer Pradeep. Your presence means a great deal to our family during this difficult time. He was our brother. He is our brother, and he will always remain our brother. We never expected, nor did we ever want this day to come. It has been incredibly difficult to accept his passing. Even now, it is hard to believe that he is no longer here with us. In many ways, it still feels as though he has not truly left this world. He was the pride and joy of my uncle and aunt. Pradeep was a man of integrity, compassion, and strong responsibility. He carried himself with honor, both in his personal life and in his service as a police officer. Whenever he visited us, he would share his experiences from his work, stories that reflected his dedication and commitment to serving others. I have known him since childhood. We grew up together. I will always remember how he played with our cousins, running, laughing, and bringing warmth and happiness to those around him. Those memories will remain with us forever. He will always live on in our hearts. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I, on behalf of my sister, would like to thank all the government officials, the blue suits, for honoring my brother-in-law. From the family member, we are very grateful. I would like to step back and take back a little bit further behind how we came to this country. Almost 20 years back, we were living as refugees in Nepal, and we are from Bhutan. We are from Bhutan and lived in refugee camp in Nepal for almost 2 decades, and finally, US government thought that we are worthy enough to be resettled, and here we are, we came to this country almost 18 years ago. In this 18 years of span of time, I think our community have been actively engaged in all field of military services, including the military services. This country have opened the doors for us and given us hope. And the hope has done people to serve also. In the line of duty, my brother-in-law, Mr. Pradeep Tamang, has fallen, but it was in the line of duty and it was known anything could come in front once you are in the dress. He was young, indeed, but we are proud as a community that he has served the community well. He has kept the promise of what he has promised to do. And we as a community, we are proud that our young kids, fellow community people, are engaged in the community services as much as we can. From the family members, we would like to thank again, once again, Gwinnett County Police Department, the county officials, and the community people who has poured in the support for the families in times of need. We look forward to engage and help each other in whatever we can. May my brother-in-law's soul rest in peace and give courage to people in uniforms to keep on serving and keeping the community as safe as possible. We cannot expect 100%, but as safe as possible. May his soul rest in peace, give us encouragement to keep on serving our community. Thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to invite Gwinnett County Police Department Chief J.D. McClure to the stage.
Good morning. I want to extend my sincerest appreciation for the outpouring of support from across the country and express my gratitude to those who have taken the time to honor our fallen brother today. U.S. Attorney Theodore Hertzberg, Governor Brian Kemp, and First Lady Marty. There are numerous state representatives here, but as far as federal law enforcement, I want to thank DEA Atlanta, the U.S. Secret Service, FBI Atlanta, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the Georgia State Patrol, Gwinnett County Chairwoman Nicole Love Henderson, and our district commissioners, as well as County Administrator Glenn Stevens, the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office, the Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office, the Lawrenceville Police Department, and many others. It is with a heavy heart that I stand before you this morning. So often during my tenure as Chief of Police, I had one prayer, some days silent, some days out loud, but my prayer was that I never lose an officer in the line of duty. And this is a prayer that's all too familiar to chiefs around the country. This is a day that no chief or fellow officer welcomes, and one that no family should ever have to endure. Words aren't sufficient for this moment. And I want to make a correction here. So I grew up in Georgia. Lieutenant McClendon grew up in Georgia. So as we see Tamang's name, our first instinct is Tamang, right? So you're going to hear me refer to him as Tamang. So I've worked hard to get the correct pronunciation. But if I go back to Tamang, please forgive me. To the Tamang family, please know that your son, fiance, brother is held in the highest regard and will live on in our memories always. He gave everything for this job and for this community, and we are forever grateful. Even in this dark time, the very mention of Officer Pradeep Tamang, his name pierces the shadow that's over us today. We remember his light, like the eternal flame that he watched over as a guardian and as a brother. Every officer who pins on this badge represents the shield of defense. And that polished badge reflects the light of hope back out into the community.
As far as your live shots, you do your live shots, I ask that you do them up. I know it's up on that hill, but move up there versus being right in here, okay?
So if we do live shots, we can go past the A&F truck.
You can go up here on the
Right, okay, so that makes more sense.
Go from the corner, but you don't try not to do anything down here because they're still trying to work. You can go up here on this corner, okay? But you still have to abide by whatever that officer who was working right here, you have to abide by him. I suggest doing your live shots on that side of the street because you can see the fire truck, you can see the SWAT tactical vehicles. Don't forget, I was a reporter before I did this, okay? So I'm setting up for a better shot is on that side because you can see as long as those trucks aren't in the way. But give me a minute. We're trying to make sure we have. I got to get my person who's going to give you the sound, okay?
One, two.
Right here for my taxi wall.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. We have been streaming the celebration of life for Officer Pradeep Tamang, an officer who was shot and killed in Stone Mountain just last weekend. We found out that there was more to do with that story, but also happening right now live. There is a SWAT standoff. Officers are expected to give us word any minute. We are listening in, trying to see what all information they can give at this point in time. What I can tell you, however, is that this is another officer involved shooting situation that we're seeing. This is Cheshire Bridge Road, very close to Lenox, and also between Buckhead, and then when you're getting into DeKalb County, it looks like that shot came down. We can come back to me though in studio. So here's the information. Here's the information that we have there. Atlanta police responded to a shots fired call at 2470 Cheshire Bridge Road Northeast. A simple Google search shows that that address also matches the one for the Helios apartment complex. It's a pretty popular apartment complex in that area. So they say that they were called there because of shots fired. As soon as those officers got to the scene, they say that they were met with gunfire. One officer was grazed by a bullet. Another officer sustained some lacerations, so some cuts. And then we heard that they did return fire, and this quickly became a barricaded gunman situation. So remember, we have shown you guys a live picture from that scene earlier, yes, I see that. It looks like we actually got that shot back up. Okay, so any minute now, again, we are waiting to see whether or not they are going to give us some information on what is happening out there. We're expecting a live press conference from police giving us some more information. So in addition to that, again, it's very limited details that I have here. Officer-involved shooting. One officer grazed. Another officer sustaining lacerations. Both officers at this point in time are considered alert, conscious, and breathing, which is great news. They are receiving medical treatment for their injuries, and the GBI has been notified. They may be taking over this investigation. We still have yet to see if that happens. But they say all of this transformed around 7:55 a.m. So now it's 11:30, and it is still very much so an active scene out there. Where you're looking at right here is a CVS that's on the corner of, I believe it's Cheshire Bridge Road and La Vista, which, by the way, is very close to the La Vista apartment complex that burned down recently, within the last year, maybe even 2 now that I'm trying to think about it, but very close to that area as well, where police say that they were called to a shots fired call at 2470 Cheshire Bridge Road, and they were met with gunfire. One officer was grazed, another officer sustained some lacerations. Officers were able to return fire in this situation. So far, that's all we have. We do know that those officers are alert, conscious, and breathing, hopefully expected to be okay, since it was just a grazed injury and a laceration. The scene is still very active, as you can see. There are so many reporters out there. Our team got there fairly quickly. Our Caitlin Pratt may have been one of the first to the scene, besides all of the officers that were out there as well. We also have our Eli Jordan on the ground trying to bring you live coverage. Now, I don't hear anything in my ears, so right now it looks like they are not going to be giving that press conference, but we will keep our eyes on it. We know that at the same time, the police chief from Gwinnett County is speaking at the microphone at the funeral, the celebration of life for Officer Pradeep Tamang. So let's see if we can go back out to that live as we try to gather more information for you all.
Several awards that will be posthumously bestowed upon Officer Tamang, and those are as follows. First, the Medal of Valor. It's the police department's highest award. This is awarded only at the discretion of the chief of police, upon recommendation that the employee has performed a conspicuous act of gallantry or heroism while risking life or serious injury above and beyond the call of duty. Such acts must be performed while performing heroic or extraordinary official acts in the line of duty. And finally, honorable service. This is awarded to those employees who have long and honorable service in the law enforcement profession for a minimum of 10 years, including military police and prior civilian law enforcement service. Please note, this may also be awarded at the discretion of the chief of police. This is a hard day. I know any of us would rather be dispatched to any call than be faced with mourning our fallen brother. But I take comfort knowing that Pradeep Tamang lived his life to answer a higher calling. I take pride knowing he chose the Gwinnett County Police Department to serve and make change in our world. Filled with sadness, we send him off with valor, with honor, and gratitude. He was a guardian, he was a warrior, he was our brother, and he will never be forgotten. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite us for a moment of silence. And really, this is just a sacred pause to honor Officer Tamang, to remember his service, to lift up his family members and his friends, and for you to reflect. So let's take this moment. Really, this is just a sacred pause to honor Officer Tamang, to remember his service, lift up his family members and his friends, and for you to reflect. So let's take this moment.
From the mountains of Nepal, you cross the wide blue sea. A young heart full of fire, chasing dreams of liberty. 10 years on foreign soil, you built a life anew. Then pin that badge with pride, said I'll stand for what's true. Just a boy of 25, fresh from the academy line, but you wore the blue like armor, gave your all every time. Oh, Pradeep, a fallen brother, you answered the call that day to a hotel room of shadows where evil chose its way. Unprovoked, the bullets flew, stole your breath away, but your light still shines eternal in the hearts that couldn't break. You were someone's son, someone's love, soon to be a groom. Now heaven holds you closer beneath the eternal moon. Rest easy, hero, rest easy. We carry on for you. Routine call turned to chaos, fraud and lies turned red. You and David stood together, no fear inside your head. You faced the storm unflinching, protected those you'd sworn, a promise kept in silence in the early Sunday morn. Engaged to your beloved, plans for a wedding day, but duty calls you forward, and you never turned away. Oh, Pradeep, our guardian angel, with your gentle warrior soul, you left us far too early, left a gaping, aching hole. From the Paul to Georgia streets, you bridged two worlds with grace, gave your last full measure in that unforgiving place. Your fiancé weeps in silence, your family holds you near, but your badge burns bright forever through every falling tear. Rest easy, hero, rest easy, your watch is over now. We see you in the sunrise, in the badge upon our chest. In every act of kindness, you gave your very best. Though the pain is endless and the nights feel cold and long, your courage echoes onward in the right where you belong. No fraud, no hate, no bullet condemn the light you gave. You live in every heartbeat of the free and the brave. Oh, Pradeep, sweet Pradeep, we honor you tonight. A son of Nepal's mountains, our eternal guiding light. You were only 25, but your legacy is vast. A hero taken from us, but your spirit holds steadfast. To your family, to your fiancé, to your brothers in the blue, we promise we'll remember, we'll carry this for you. Rest easy, our brother, rest easy, until we meet again. In the blue beyond the pain. Shield of light. Forever. Officer Tamang. We love you.
At this time, Gwinnett County Police will render honors. Police will render honors.
Ladies and gentlemen, if able, please rise.
Radio to badge 2741. Radio to badge 2741. Radio to badge 2741. Officer Pradeep Tamang. Attention all units. Gwinnett County Police Officer Tamang, badge 2741, will be 1042 for the remainder. Officer Tamang was fatally wounded in the line of duty on February the 1st. Officer Tamang, we honor you for your ultimate sacrifice, and we thank you for your service to the Gwinnett County Police Department and to the citizens of Gwinnett County. You will always be remembered for the kindness that you showed to everyone you came into contact with. We appreciate your willingness to serve and protect the citizens of Gwinnett County. You made the choice to take the oath, put on the uniform, don the badge, and stand between good and evil, and for that, we will be forever grateful. Gone but never forgotten, badge 2741, we will take the watch from here. Officer Pradeep Tamang, end of watch, Sunday, February the 1st, 2026. Officer Pradeep Tamang, end of watch, Sunday, February the 1st, 2026.
Honor guard, order, arms. Honor guard, parade, rest.
just comes up to us and says,
All right, so you guys have been watching this celebration of life service with me happening at 12 Stone Church. I wanted to get right out to our Ray Llerena, who is still on the grounds there. Ray, we saw so many people walking out. We can actually see them walking out behind you as well. Can you tell me how things are going? I know the procession is set to begin soon.
Yeah, the procession is just about to begin, Judea. They just ended up closing right now the rear doors of the hearse after loading Officer Tamang's body into the back of that hearse for that procession. I can tell you that the service was it's a very somber service. There was a lot of talk about who Officer Pradeep Tamang was as a person. We heard from his lieutenant, we heard from his sergeant, we also heard from a classmate of his, and all of them had roughly the same thing to say about him, but just about his love for policing and his love for making sure that the roads were safe with his traffic and radar, how his police car was kitted out like Kit from that movie. It's escaping my name right now, but it's like the Kit car. You just learned a lot of who Officer Tamang was as a person, not only on the job, but also at home when his family and when his fiance spoke. You could feel her pain through the celebration of life, just talking about who he was as a person at home, how he was so loving and caring, and how he wanted eventually to start a family according to his family, and he was just very grateful for the opportunity that the Gwinnett County Police Department offered him during this time. We also heard from the police chief, J.D. McClure. He referenced that story that mother told us on the stream earlier today about her 11-year-old son with autism who was having just a bad day, and Officer Tamang was there to just comfort him and give him what they need. That just speaks to the type of person that Officer Tamang was, and judging by how many people attended and how many people were in attendance for a service, not only for Gwinnett County, but across the Metro Atlanta area. We saw Decatur police here, Gainesville police here, all these honor guards and departments and agencies just paying the respects to this fallen officer. And this service has lasted for about 2 hours, and it ended with a gun salute, a helicopter flyover, and of course honors from the Gwinnett County Police Guard. I do want to, and as you may have seen on the stream, Officer Tamang was gifted 3 posthumous awards from the Gwinnett County Police Department, from the police chief, those being the Medal of Valor. That is the highest award from the police officer, as well as the Purple Heart, and for honorable service, Judea.
Yeah, Ray, it's been incredible watching this service. I was taking some notes. You mentioned all of the different agencies that were out there to support him and his family. I also noticed in that last instance where they were presenting the family with the flag, that actually Governor Brian Kemp and his wife, First Lady Marty Kemp, were also in attendance. They were sitting there in the first row. So that was interesting to me as well. Were you able to hear that song that played right before the funeral kind of let out? It sounded like an original song where they were really going through exactly who he was, his time in Nepal to coming to the U.S. That was really special, but were you able to hear any of that?
Yeah, I was able to hear that song, and that kind of touched me as well. Just hearing that song, that was actually going to be one of my questions to the public information officer in Gwinnett County is who produced that song.
Yeah, I want to know too.
Because we saw a lot of the comments, even online. I was watching on the live stream, and I saw some of the comments that you saw as well, Judea, about just a lot of people were touched with that song. So that was going to be one of my questions to Gwinnett County, and as soon as I find an answer, I'll let you know.
Please and thank you. Yeah, just beautifully done. Really, this whole service was really nicely produced, the way that it was put together. And as we continue to learn more and more details about who this young man was, knowing that, I mean, I keep saying young because he was born in 2000. He had so much life ahead of him.
25 years old.
Yes, so much life ahead of him.
25 years old, and a lot of people cared about him, as you could see, Judea. So his family said, and how his co-worker said, his spirit, his soul will not be forgotten, and that's for sure.
For sure. All right, Ray, thank you so much for being on the grounds for us, telling us a little bit more about who he was, all of the people who loved him. We do know that soon we are supposed to see a procession where our Skyfox will fly over, so we'll have that live coverage continuing for you all. Ray, I'm going to let you go so you can continue your news gathering, and please, as soon as you know that answer, let me know.
Will do. Thank you.
Of course. All right, let's get back out to it. As I told you guys, that procession will be taking place any moment now. We see people are still leaving 12 Stone Church. Here's the direction that will be going in, just in case you still want to get out there. From the church, the procession will take a right on a State Route 20. They're going to continue on a scenic route, State Route 12, and then they're going to take another right. The procession will then take a left onto Grayson Highway, which is State Route 20, and then they'll follow onto Simonton Road, where they'll take one last left. They're going to take a right into the parking lot of the funeral home. They're asking anybody out in the public, if you would like to pay your respects, please line the streets. They're just making sure that no one is directly in the streets, so don't stop, don't wait, in essence, like that. Those are the things that we are learning about there. All right, let's bring it on back to me here in the studio. Still ahead, I have more coverage coming up for you guys. We do need to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to get back out to Atlanta, where we know there is an active situation, maybe even a barricaded gunman. We'll be checking in with our reporters who are live on the scene when we come back. guys, welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. Earlier, I told you that there was a SWAT standoff underway in Atlanta. I want to get right out to our reporter, Caitlin Pratt. Caitlin, you got out there very quickly. I remember we saw so many police cars lined up. We were still trying to figure out what was going on. What have you learned?
Hi, Judea. Yeah, it's been quite a morning here. I want to set the stage for you. Turn my camera around. You can see over my shoulder. This is a main intersection here, La Vista, where it turns into Lindbergh Drive and the intersection with Cheshire Bridge Road. I'm at the staging ground, so to speak, where police have been gathering for the last 4 hours. Let me go ahead and switch the cameras for you here. So, yeah, they started gathering here when I first arrived just after 9 o'clock this morning. But this is an ordeal that's been going on much longer, actually happening right before 8 o'clock, about a half a mile down Cheshire Bridge Road, heading towards Lenox Road that way. That's where police are all congregated right now, trying to, they say, get a gunman they believe to be barricaded inside one of the apartments out. Now, I did just speak with a person who was evacuated from that apartment complex, Helios. He's over there right now with my stream team partner, Eli. So here's what he was telling us. He said he woke up to sounds of gunshots and his girlfriend went out into the hallway. Police ushered them back inside and said that they heard gunfire, and then they saw an officer kind of stumble back. After that, ever since, they've been watching their Ring camera because it's, of course, it's positioned right outside in the hallway outside their door. That's what Eli, my colleague, is looking at right now with that witness. He says he's just kind of still trying to process it at this point. Of course, it's not something that happens every day. A weekend morning, you wake up, you expect it to be just a lazy morning, right? Instead, it turns into a standoff situation. So you're probably wondering about the officers involved in this and the suspect too. We do not have any information to pass on about this suspected gunman, just the fact that that person is now holed up in one of the apartments there at the complex on Cheshire Bridge Road. We know that. As for the officers, just getting an update on them. 2 of them were struck by bullets. One grazed, the other one lacerations. It's unclear what kind of injuries we're talking about, but I did learn from police that they were treated at Grady Memorial Hospital. They are going to be okay. They have been released, but still very much an active situation here. Currently, Atlanta Police, MARTA Police, we have SWAT members. We also have fire department rescue medics here on the scene, just in case anything goes awry. We are waiting for an update from investigators and official news presser, but have not received that update just yet. Wanted to get on the stream, though, and let you know what that witness just told us moments ago, and also the update, the headline here, that those 2 officers are going to be okay. We don't have any information about that suspected shooter or the circumstances regarding the gunfire that brought them to that complex in the first place. But of course, we're going to stay on top of this breaking situation and bring you the latest here on the stream and also on Fox 5 News later on this afternoon. Judea?
Caitlin, can you talk to me about this? You've been a reporter, you've covered these types of SWAT situations. How sensitive is it that we don't give away their location? Of course, we have the general vicinity. We don't exactly know where the suspect is, but can you just talk to why they tell us to stand back when situations like this are unfolding?
Well, sure. They want a perimeter, and they're staying back themselves. Remember, 2 officers were already injured as a result of an encounter with this individual. So, of course, they don't want any civilians hurt or any other officers. So that's why there's such a large perimeter around the place where they're trying to presumably negotiate with this person. According to that neighbor who, again, has been watching his Ring camera footage, they have been trying to communicate with that person, knocking on the door, things of that nature. But yeah, we don't want to give away too much information just because you never know. Is that person watching our stream? Is that person watching any other of the news stations? And getting some eyes outside of where he, I'm presuming it's a he or she is. So that's kind of the context with which we roll here out on the streets, covering, unfortunately, these kind of situations. Not often, but enough that you kind of know the protocol. And just to give you an idea, we are all lined up and ready to get an update from police. That's Eli Jordan, my Stream Team colleague, and we're hoping to get some answers for you and really hope to get this all wrapped up for those residents who call that apartment complex home. It's been quite a morning for them, and I'm sure they want to get back to their weekend. And with these two police officers okay, I feel like the focus is now making sure that a person inside the apartment is apprehended, taken into custody safely without anyone getting hurt in the process, any more people getting hurt in the process. Judea.
Thank you so much for walking us through this. I mean, there are obviously so many questions that I have. I know many questions that our audience has as well. You guys, we're trying our best to get you those answers, get you information as quickly as we can. But as Caitlin just let you know, when it's something like this, it's extremely sensitive, where we don't want to necessarily give away the police's plan, their exact coordinates or anything like that. So that's why we are dealing with it in this way, and why we are a little ways back from where that apartment complex is. And last thing I just want to point out, Caitlin, you and I both know this, as we've been on this street before, but this is a very busy, populated area. You're taking a look there at the Terra Theater, very famous here in Atlanta. We also know there is a McDonald's very close to where that, I believe that apartment complex is. A lot of people frequent this area. Usually traffic is backed up on this very street. So just wanted to give you some context to just how many people usually, frequent this particular roadway. Caitlin, thank you so much for staying and giving us a live look, more insight on what's happening there. I'm going to try to check in with our Eli Jordan a little later on if I can, since you did mention he was talking to that neighbor. Great team coverage from the both of you guys. All right, let's see if we can take a live look outside. It is a nice day here in Atlanta as we're trying to make sense of all of the news that we've got going on. Beautiful day for a procession to be taking place as well, which is great news because we know that that officer, Pradeep Tamang, is going to be laid to rest, but not until the community has an opportunity to say their goodbyes. But I want to bring in our meteorologist, Greg Majeski. Greg, you've been keeping up to date with the skies. We know our chopper's up in the skies, so should it be a beautiful day?
Oh, beautiful day. Hope the throat holds up. Got a little cough going. But I'll make it. I'll try to make it through. Yeah, beautiful day. We got cool weather today. Nice warm up coming this upcoming week, and a little rain, but not a lot. We need a lot more rain than what we've been getting, but we'll deal with that. So let's go and take a look right now as I try to suffer on through this, as we're seeing temperatures in the 40s out there.
Let me know if you need to come out.
We'll try.
Okay.
I'll drive on here as we're looking at 40s out there for right now, so things not looking too bad, as we're going to be dealing with a lot of sunshine, still dealing with a lot of winds out there as well. Oops, sorry about that. We get that back over here. And sorry about that. And a little double click there.
There we go.
Yep, that's not where I wanted to be, but
okay.
Hold on, sorry. We'll get back over here. Get it over here. There we go. So we got the wind gusts that are going to continue through the rest of the day. It's going to add a little more coolness to the air out there. So definitely a cool. The good news is the winds are going to die down here for tonight. So that's good. I'm not sure why it's going up to that, but I'm going to I'm going to go just going to skip. I'm just going to go right here.
Okay. So, maybe we can just go to the 7-day.
Well, yeah, we can do 7-day.
Okay.
Let's go right to the 7-day. Let's go do that. So let me stop this real quick. I'll go right to the 7-day here for you. See, for some reason it keeps going up to the top. Go right to the bottom.
That is peculiar.
Hey,
well, you know what?
It get a little gremlin. Here you go. Right here.
There we go.
There it goes. So anyway, yeah, so things are going to warm up. Tomorrow will be back in the upper 50s. We got 20s tomorrow morning, so it's going to be cold tomorrow. But the rest of the 7-day, nah, we got no coldness out there at all, and temperatures are going to be well above normal. Normal high about 57, so about 10 plus degrees above normal. So not bad.
Not bad at all. All right, Greg, thank you so much for giving us a look at what's still ahead to come. Again, the weather is so important, not just because we want to get out and have a good day, but because out there in Gwinnett County, we know that officer right now is being led through the streets, just left Stone Church, and we want to take a live look out at that procession now. You're looking at the hearse in the very front, the family, friends, colleagues riding around behind. We are expecting to see a large presence out there lining the streets. The officers welcomed the community. You can actually see quite a few people lining up there. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna pull up a banner for you guys, so just in case you are watching and not listening, you'll know what's going on as well. This is the procession for fallen officer Pradeep Tamang. You can see they just rode under a flag. All flags today, by the way, here in the state of Georgia are expected to fly at half staff. That is under the order of Governor Brian Kemp, who was actually in attendance of that celebration of life with his wife, First Lady Marty Kemp. It was a beautiful ceremony. I hope you guys had some time to tune in at any point and listen to some of the words that people had to share. One thing that I kept hearing was just how beautiful and warm Officer Tamang's smile was. The other thing, a lot of people harped on his beginning because, you know, keep in mind, Officer Tamang began his service May 2025. That is when he graduated from the police academy. Then he joined the Gwinnett County Police Department officially and quickly made a very great name for himself. He was known as an officer who cared about the people, which is extremely important. One story that I love so much that I keep telling you guys about, so maybe you've heard it already, but it just makes me feel so warm. They say that Officer Tamang was called to a woman's home in Gwinnett County. She had an 11-year-old son on the spectrum who was experiencing some sort of mental health episode, and his mother needed some help, so she called the Gwinnett County Police Department. Officer Tamang is who responded, and she just broke down when she heard that he had lost his life in the line of duty, because she says he was so kind to her son when everything was going on, when he was undoubtedly scared. A person in uniform was able to come out and make sure that he was safe, make sure that he was okay, and make sure the mom felt comfortable, with them leaving and moving on. She said at one point in time, he actually offered to take her son to go get McDonald's, because that's just the kind of guy he was. So as you can see, along this procession, there are police cars, I believe that's Georgia State Patrol, blocking off different intersections so that they can stay on that one line all the way until the funeral home, which is where they will stop. The family will then get out to make their personal goodbyes to Officer Tamang, and we have this live shot overseen where we are able to follow the hearse along in real time. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about exactly who Officer Tamang was, because he was just 25 years old when he died, but there's so much that he was able to do in such a short period of time. Now, of course, so much more that he wanted to do. We know that he loved education and he loved being an officer. According to department records, he absolutely loved being a police officer and took great pride in his work. They say he was always excited to share some of the stories from the field. He genuinely looked forward to his shifts, and for him, it was really all about serving and protecting his community. It meant a lot to him. Now, remember I said he was 25. He was only born in 2000 on April 8th in a refugee camp all the way out in Nepal. He then resettled here in the United States in 2008. I believe he set up shop in Pennsylvania, and that's where most of his family does still live to this day. But in a short period of time, he was able to distinguish himself as a bright, ambitious, and an intelligent young man. So intelligent and with such a deep passion for learning, you're not going to believe his education level. So 2019, he graduated from Akron Early College High School, and because it was an early college high school, he already had his diploma and an associate degree in arts. In 2021, he earned a bachelor's degree in national security from the University of Akron. And then in 2023, he completed a Master of Arts in Political Science and Security Studies. And then he joined the Gwinnett County Police Department. Now, he's dedicated to his role there at the police department before he unfortunately was killed in the line of duty, but he had ambitions in other places too. Outside of his professional life, he says he had plans to pursue a PhD. He wanted to serve in the military and eventually maybe even enter a world of politics. He was known for his curiosity, a wide range of personal interests. We heard during the service that he loved a good video game, he loved reading, and he loved building new things. And he had a particular fondness for animals. He actually thought that one day maybe he would be able to open up his own animal sanctuary. And despite his life being cut short, family members say that he lived his life, his 25 years, with purpose, ambition, and heart. His dedication, kindness, and dreams will forever be remembered. In fact, recently there was a vigil held at Cross Point Church, and it was a sad moment. Wow, I'm sorry. Take a moment to look at all of these cars, these agency cars following this procession. We have been keeping a bird's eye view on the hearse, but look how many officers joined the line to help say their final goodbyes. And we've gotten to see a couple of people on the streets as well, lined up. And it just keeps going. All of these people are still leaving 12 Church on their way to the funeral home. That is a long line of vehicles. Wow. I'm sorry, I was just stunned taking a look at it. I knew there were a lot of people in the stands and their seats, but I didn't realize just how many people came out to show their support. This is incredible. And they've gotten a police escort, of course. You see the officers on their motorcycles in the very front. All right, if you guys don't mind, I want to keep telling you a little bit more about who this officer was so that we can all have a better idea of why so many people were thought it was important to come out to make sure that they were showing up for the family. He was described as a man of immense passion and peace. Friends who knew him very well said that he had the outlook of a person who was just peaceful in nature. He had a great smile, great personality, and overall great outlook on the future. The department says that they are hurting with this loss. No one ever wants to lose their partner. No one ever wants to lose someone who they call brother, especially not in the line of duty. It's one thing when it's a natural cause, maybe even health, but it's another thing when someone takes a life away. We also know that he's leaving behind a fiancée. He not only had aspirations of what he wanted to do with his life in terms of his career, but he was excited to get married, you guys. His 22-year-old fiancée was in attendance at the funeral. She was emotional. And I can only imagine what it's going to take for her to come to peace with this. I presume that may not happen for quite some time, but we do know that the Gwinnett County Police Department has been taking donations for both Officer Tamang, who lost his life, and his partner, MPO David Reed, who is still in the hospital recovering. He actually recently underwent surgery, but is expected to recover in no time. But his fiancée, even though she has been crying, family friends say that she has been trying her best to put on a brave face. So the community did its best to prepare